Good morning. It is Monday, the 2nd of February 2026. And you know what that means? It means that if you're watching this, you survived January 2026, the longest month that there has ever been in the history of months. Hello, my name is Graham Hughes. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. Sorry if things are a little bit jerky and shonky this morning. I've just got back to Durham and we are getting back into the swing of things. And I think, much like myself, my computer hasn't quite woken up yet. So before we get into what we're going to be talking about today, just want to say a big shout out to all my chat bros and sisters. We have Martin Harrow in there. We've got Chris C. We've got Galafane Wren. We've got Saz in there. We have got L, Butterfly Effect. And Martin Harrow. Kirsty is in there as well. Daylight M. Look at these lovely people all in the chat. All saying hello. Would you like to say hello? Would you? Well, all you have to do is press the subscribe button. Just press subscribe. And just wait for approximately uno minuto. And you'll be able to join in the chat. But don't be a troll. Don't be mean. Just everyone be nice. Just want everyone to be nice. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Trump and all that lot can never be nice. But yeah, we can. We can rise above. You know, when they go low, we can kick them. But, you know, when we're not kicking them, we can rise above after giving them a good kicking. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about this Melania documentary, which isn't the same as a documentary about the millennium. That's something different. Melania is the third wife of Donald Judas Trump, the current mountain of mad flesh that is currently occupying the Shite House. It used to be called the White House. He moved in, knocked half of it down to fulfill Osama bin Laden's wishes, in his final desires, and as a result, he's turned it into a fucking nightmare. But yes, anyway, so Melania is his third wife, a wife that he cheated on with a porn star while she was pregnant, because that's the kind of thing that Trump does. Because Trump personifies everything that every toxic man would like to get away with, if only they could. And because he gets to get away with it, these toxic men children get to live vicariously through the misdeeds and the unutterable sayings of Donald Trump. These are people, are cowards, snivelling little shits who would love to go up to someone who's actually fought in a war, actually, put their lives on the line to fight in a dangerous conflict zone. They would love to go and kick them, because those soldiers, those members of the Air Force or the Navy, they make these sad little discombobulated bellends feel shit about themselves, because they feel in the heart of hearts that they're not real men. And you know what? There's a part of me that understands, given their upbringing, why certain men feel that way. And when they see Donald Trump being disrespectful to the troops, they're like, yeah. They might say in public, oh yeah, you shouldn't say that. But in private, they're like, yeah. Take him down a peg or two. Look at those veterans coming home with their PTSD, living on the streets. Oh yeah, let's take them down a peg or two. Not the billionaires. Never the billionaires. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this Melania documentary. Let's talk about millionaires. Let's talk about media powers. The power of the media, which is nothing new. I think there's a scene in the movie. I'm saying I think there's a scene, like, if I can recall that, there is a scene in the movie Citizen Kane. Hands up if you've seen Citizen Kane. Hope you're all putting your hands up, right? If you haven't seen it, stop watching this. Go and watch Citizen Kane. Get back to me. There's a scene in Citizen Kane, spoilers, where he decides to launch his girlfriend, stroke wife's, glittering stage career as a singer. There's only one problem. She can't sing. But that's fine because William Randolph Hearst, Charles Foster Kane, easy mistake to make, has all the money in the world. He has the money to build Xanadu and a zoo in Xanadu, at the Xanadu Zoo. No one pointed that in the film, but I thought that was quite funny that he actually did that. But no matter how much money he poured into his wife's singing career, there's a wonderful scene where she's singing the opera. She wants to be a singer, and the camera goes up and up and up, and you think it's going to stop, but it doesn't. It keeps going up, up through the rafters, up, just through all the stage lights, and all the things keeps going up, and at the very top, there's two stage hands sitting at the top of the scaffold, and one's like, "Oh, shit's awful." Because no amount of money can give someone talent. Talent is not something that you can pay for someone to have. If that was the case, then Brooklyn Beckham would be incredibly talented. Baron Trump would be a megastar of the stage and screen. An ice skating champion. Wimbledon hero. But no, talent is innate. If you're good at something, good for you. Keep at it. If you can't do something, no amount of money that gets thrown at you is going to make you at the world class. You might get a little bit better. At singing. If you've got a singing coach, you're playing the guitar. If you've got a guitar coach, teacher, tutor, yeah, sure, go, But my musical talents of being able to read music very slowly and eventually after about, 1 year of practice, maybe do a little bit of a song on the piano, right? A little bit of a tune on the old Joanna. My talent being able to do that, right, is nothing compared with the talents of my friends. Mate Chris, he can listen to a song on the radio and then he can play it on the guitar, or you can play it on the piano, or you can play it on the drums, or you can play it on the ukulele, or the flute, or the violin. I don't know how he does it. He's a magician. But he's got that innate talent. No amount of money. You could give me all the money in the world. I'll still never be as good as a musician as him. But here we have the Melania documentary, which is very like that bit in Citizen Kane. Very, very like that bit in Citizen Kane. Where he's like, I'm going to promote my wife to be... And there's a scene in this Melania documentary, which is quite... It's gaining traction now, because people are actually reading. They're doing like script readings from this film. I know it wasn't scripted. And... The interview, the hard-hitting interview with this Melania woman, right, who's an immigrant, and we'll come to that, is, what is your favourite time of the day? And she's like, I like the morning because I wake up and I have my breakfast. Cool. Cool and normal. We're living in a cool and normal world. That is... cool and normal. And do you know what else is cool? Super chats are cool. And since I met Diz in real life over the weekend at the Nirvana gig, I'm going to have to start the confetti session. So just give it a moment before you get too excited, because obviously if you do it too quickly, it doesn't register. So if you're halfway through doing a super chat, just leave it a moment. Leave it a minute or so. Right, there we go. The super chat goal has been created, which is all good. What's happening? Townsend, morning peeps. How y'all doing? Doing all right, Townsend. How are you? Melania movie, great for constipation. What? The Melania movie, was it malicious competence from Bezos? Compliance? Yes. You see, the core question here is who decides what gets funded, greenlit, amplified, or what gets buried, what gets killed in the Trump era? And the answer is increasingly, it's not, the editors, hard-hitting investigative journals, or heaven forfend, the audience, any audience. No, it's billionaires with political interests. This is not new, historically. Citizen Kane, good example, made in the movie Citizen Kane. But the scale and the brazenness of it is just another fucking world. It is off the charts. We have a full-length documentary about Melania Trump, backed by Amazon, MGM Studio. We talk about Amazon. We talk about this being a Bezos project. Don't forget, he owns MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. One of the oldest and most storied studios in the history of Hollywood. And they're putting out this shite. Amazon reportedly paid $40 million for the rights, $35 million for marketing and distribution, for a total spend of $75 million. What the fuck? Like, just what? How? When? What is going on? How is this even happening? Over 70% of the rights fee reportedly went to Melania Trump personally. And the thing is, with this money that was spent, the $75 million, so many little movies could have been made for that. You could have made over 100 documentaries for that easily. The budget for my entire TV show that I made for Lonely Planet and National Geographic and the BBC was only $500,000. I didn't get any of that, but another story for another time. But it was $500,000, and that was for 8 episodes of the show. Do you know what I mean? And it was filmed in over 133 countries over the course of a year. This wasn't just, let's get some footage of Melania Trump walking into a room and looking at something. The logistics that went into making my show was just insane. And then when it comes to putting this stuff together, editing it, it's easier now than ever before, you got stuff like add-ons that you can put into Adobe Premiere, right? And you can have like a 3-camera setup. And depending on who's talking in any one bit, you feed it through AI, and it'll decide whether to go for the close-up of that person, or the shot with both people in. And it decides for you. You just go like, and it'll automatically edit 3 timelines from 3 separate video sources. We'll do it all for you. I think it costs about $9.99 a month. Where the other $74.999 million was spent, I have no fucking clue. Viber Scott, thank you very much for the £2 super chat to get things started for Dizzer's Confetti Fix. Oh, thank you. By the way, also, can we just note that this movie was directed by Brett Ratner? I have fucking despised Brett Ratner for years. Absolutely years. I've hated this hack of a director, this gobshite who, I don't know, I guess he was from a landed family or something, and daddy gave him enough money to get started making shit movies. And his films were, and still are, absolute fucking bobbins. He did the Rush Hour trilogy, shite. He did the Red Dragon sequel prequel thing to the Silence of the Lambs, shite. He did X-Men The Last Stand, shite. He did Tower Heist, unbelievable, unmitigated, cast iron, copper bottom shite. He did Hercules, the movie. And then he got cancelled by the Me Too movement, which came to no surprise to anyone who's been following Pop Bitch for the last 25 years. Guy's a fucking monster, and he's a shit director. He's a shit hack of a director. And then it came out, he'd done some really fucking horrific things to women appearing in his films. And so he hasn't worked since Hercules. It's been 12 years since he's actually made a fucking movie. And what movie does he make? Melania. And who is in the Epstein files in a photo with Epstein and 2 young women? Brett Ratner. It's all connected. Francis, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Ratner of the Epstein files. Indeed. Absolute bloody gobshite. They all are. The little rich boys, little rich girls, never grow up, never have to grow up. They keep the mentality, everything they felt when they were 12 years old, all that fury and indignation and the fact that their word wasn't quite how they wanted it to be. Do you remember, what was it? It wasn't Animaniacs, was it? Tiny Toons Adventures. Remember Tiny Toons? There was a character called Imelda, wasn't there? Was it? I'm going to look it up. Imelda. Elmira. Oh my God, she's 12. We found her. We found the archetype for all these MAGA motherfuckers. It's Elmira Duff, often misspelled as Imelda, which I just did when I typed it in. Main character and secondary antagonist from the Tiny Toons Adventures. She's a 12-year-old girl obsessed with pets, often loving them to the point of pain. That's what MAGAs are. That's what fucking Brexit voters are, and these knobheads voting for fucking refuck. This is what they are. They grab hold of their country and USA. They grab hold of Britain. I love you so much. I love you. And they don't see they're strangling the life out of their own countries. They don't see it. Mostly because they're thick as big shit. Not supposed to say that. Not supposed to say they're thick as big shit. But that's why I like being on YouTube, because I can say what the fuck I like. And I can't be fired, because I'm my own boss. Well, actually, you're my boss. You're my boss. So big shout out to Francis Window and now to Martin Harrow for the super chat. Which is very kind of you. Thank you. I wonder if Germans had kids' TV thing. Peter the Panda. What? The Hidden Knight says he was also very abusive to male actors, especially young children who played X-Men students. Even Shaw, Ashmore, Iceman felt uncomfortable around him. Yeah, fucking, he's one of them. He's one of them. He is definitely, absolutely, 100% one of them. These feckless, elite, disgusting children who never grew up in a really bad way. You know, like Peter Pan, the child who never grew up. That seems like a nice thing. It's not. It's really not. As shown by Interview with a Vampire, isn't it? Is it what's the little girl? The little girl in that never grows up. She's like 100 years old. She's stuck in the body of a little girl. Well, these gobshites, right? In the Republican Party and the refuck party, they're like adults, still with the brain, the 12-year-old brain. It's like, I just won't get my way. And once you realise that everyone on the internet who is spouting this bullshit is 12 years old, it all makes sense. Trump talking about his, I just want a bit of ice. I want my block of ice in the water. I want my block. And you're like, oh my God. It's not even a clever 12-year-old. You know, like one of these chess prodigies or something. It's just like a really thick, ignorant, stupid, entitled gobshite. And the entitlement of these fuckers is what I think drives us all up the wall. So, Melania, the documentary. 1 of 5, by the way. I think there's another 4 of these coming out. So brace yourselves. No, I'm not even kidding about that. There's more. There's going to be more. Critics were barred from attending the premiere, which immediately raised eyebrows. And reviews since have been brutal, described as propaganda, empty, aimless, and self-mythologizing, which is Melania to a T, and Trump, and Farage. Guardian critic called it a medieval tribute to placate the greedy king. The Independent described Melania as a scowling void of pure nothingness. Nice way to put it. No meaningful insight into Melania Trump. Endless shots of walking, posing, vague platitudes. No engagement with reality or contradiction. Letterboxd have given it an average of 1.2 stars. Metacritic, 0.4. 0.4 out of 5. The film repeatedly frames Melania Trump as an immigrant success story, while raids are still ongoing. ICE raids are still ongoing. Children and their families are being detained. Children put in cages, separated from their parents, knocking on the door in the middle of the night and taking people away without any kind of due process. Federal agents have killed civilians, US citizens, during enforcement operations. The good immigrant narrative versus the Trump administration's militarized immigration policy. What you want to do is marry a billionaire. Marry a billionaire who cheats on you and treats you like shit and maybe even takes you against your will like he did to his first wife, Ivana Trump, who in a court of law said that she was raped by Donald Trump, which came as no surprise to anyone who's ever met the motherfucker. But again, a lot of men vote for Trump thinking he's the guy. I can assault women vicariously through Trump. I can assault the Capitol vicariously through Trump. I can mock the disabled, mock veterans. I can mock the left. I can own the libs vicariously through Trump. And this is the thing that the film never interrogates this tension between the overall hatred of immigrants engendered and fostered, raised up on high by the Trump administration, and the fact that this woman is from another country. She popped out of her Mars twat, I don't know, in Slovenia or somewhere. And she moved. She moved to another country for a better life. But she can do that. You know, she can grow up in a penniless fucking orphanage in Eastern Europe. She can yearn for a better life because she married a paedophile who's got loads of fucking money. Big, powerful pedo. But if you don't do that, if you go to America and actually work for a living, actually build the country, actually do things that create wealth for the nation, unlike Melania coin, which created wealth for her, but no one else, just basically stole money from a bunch of dupes who thought they were going to, in part of a get-rich-quick theme. Get-rich-quick theme. This party is going to be the great... God, that'd be a good theme for a party, wouldn't it? Get-rich-quick party theme. Yeah, I'm going to do that now. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the month when it's my birthday. Why would Amazon do this? Well, look, Amazon insists that this investment was purely commercial. But when you've got an opening weekend estimated at less than $5 million, it almost certainly will not recoup its costs theatrically. And it only makes sense if profit is not the primary goal. What can you do when the lords of capitalism are like, oh, it's all right, we don't need to make money. It's not about making money. It's about taking part. It's about being part of a lovely gang of people. It's about society. It's about giving back to the needy. That's what it's about. Bullshit. It's always about money. It's always about money. And in this case, it's a lost leader. A lost leader. He knows he's going to lose loads of money. He doesn't give a fuck. He's one of the richest people in the world. And for his $75 million, he is going to get a shitload of influence, access, goodwill off the Trumps. And Jeff Bezos has major interests that absolutely 100% depend on regulatory approval, political goodwill, and federal contracts. Because just like billionaires around the world are sort of a union for rich people, the oil oligarchs making sure that they protect their jobs of extracting gloopy slime out of the ground, toxic slime, and burning the motherfucker. Just like they basically control the world through their political machinations. They need to get permission to do a lot of stuff from the people in charge, and that's why they unionize. And we should call them a union because these are the same people who want to destroy unions, but they all come together in the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, 55 Tufton Street. You may have heard of them. We call them mysteriously funded think tanks. They're not mysteriously funded. They're funded by the billionaires, for fuck's sake. Foreign billionaires. Just like refuck. Funded by foreign or foreign-based billionaires. So, lost leading propaganda. This is nothing new. Wealthy elites have always been happy to lose money on media if it buys power. In the UK, headlines like The Times, The Daily Mail have historically run at losses. The Daily Telegraph. The purpose wasn't profit. It was agenda setting, influence, and shaping public opinion. This was using media as a political weapon. status symbol, a pressure tool for politicians, stay in line, or we're going to launch a campaign against you. Look at what they've done to Starmer. Starmer's now the most unpopular prime minister in history. You've got to look at that for a moment and just go, what? More unpopular than Liz Truss, who made everyone's mortgages spike, who blew a £425 billion black hole in our pension funds. That Liz Truss, more unpopular than that. More unpopular than Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson famously held parties while we were told we weren't allowed to attend the funerals of our loved ones. That one, yeah? Less popular than Theresa May. Theresa May, who drove the party down to just 7% of the votes in the summer election for the EU in 2019. Less popular than David Cameron, who led a campaign to drive Britain off a cliff and jumped out at the last minute because he didn't want to go over the cliff with the rest of the country. He just pissed off to the south of France to go and sit in his garden shed and count his money. More unpopular than Alex bloody Douglas Hume. More unpopular than Campbell Bannerman. More unpopular than Lord North, the guy who lost us to fucking American colonies. I mean, fuck me. This is a level of unpopularity that is off the charts. But when every day you pick up a newspaper or walk past it in the shop or walk past it in the train station and you see the headline, Starmer's a gobshite, isn't he? And every time you go on YouTube or Facebook or B-Sky or Threads or fucking anything, it's like Starmer, gobshite, and it filters through, you know? And this is, you know, I've got no major animus against him. I know that some of the people watching this absolutely do because they blame him for the way that Labour have treated trans people over the last year or so, which is just so frustrating. Not just because it's cruel, not just because it makes no moral sense to do that, but it makes no electoral sense. As Phil Morehouse never tires of pointing out that it's a dead end. It's an absolute dead end politically to go up against trans people, because the people who care about it, you'll lose them all. And the people who hate trans people are never going to vote for Labour anyway because they're fucking transphobic gobshites. They're going to vote for the fascists because the F in TERF stands for fascist. Let's get at the point, right? The amount of hatred is absolutely disproportionate. If Kemi Badenoch was Prime Minister right now, do you think that she would be easier on trans people? Do you think that Nigel Farage would be? No, they would be fuck. They'll be even worse than what Labour's doing. And I know some of you are going to go, fuck off, Graham. Like, you know, how could it be worse? It could always be worse. And Farage and his gobshite have made clear their intention to have a fucking ICE agency in this country going door to door, knocking on the door in the middle of the night and dragging people away for the crime of popping out their mum at the wrong coordinate of longitude and latitude, in the wrong valley, on the wrong fucking mountain, by the wrong river, by the wrong tree. You're like, what the fuck are we, what are we doing? What are we doing? But the difference now, when it comes to all this propaganda, right? Fewer owners, bigger platforms than ever before. The people who read the papers were the people who read the papers. There was a thing that you learned about when you studied politics in the 1990s, or at least I did. We talked about propaganda, we talked about newspapers, and we talked about selective perception, selective retention, whether people actually read the particular newspaper. If you only read the Mirror, you would not be necessarily subjected to the bullshit that's on the front cover of the Sun every day. But you might see the front cover of the Sun, but you know, you wouldn't actually open it up and read the damn thing, right? So, selective reading, essentially, and selective exposure. I think that's the correct term, selective exposure. And then there's the fact that when people read a story that they don't want to be true, they tend to reject it. They'll make excuses for it in their mind, like you do about a naughty child who, has to be spoiled for some reason. And the teachers say, oh, the kid did something wrong. And the parents come back and say, no, my little Johnny's perfect, never did anything wrong ever. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever, great, yeah. I'm sure they never did anything wrong. So people have this selective perception and also selective retention. We tend to forget stuff that doesn't fit our narrative. But do we forget stuff that absolutely fits our narrative? Do we fuck? That's the stuff we share because we're like, well, hey, this is exactly what I want to believe. So I'm going to send it out to the world, to everyone to hear, even though it might not be true. And that's the difficulty, isn't it? Because I do this myself, I'm guilty of this myself. Reading something, and because of cognitive bias, I want it to be true. I absolutely want that horrible thing to have happened to that horrible person. But the reality is that 99% of the stuff that you read these days is bullshit. From top to bottom, left to right. It's really grim. Resloy, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Labour are more of a centrist party than left wing and socialists, which is why they're in big trouble. I wish they were the way they were decades ago. Well, here you go, Resloy. Let's have a discussion about that. Just to go off on one for a moment. When do you mean? Because if you're talking about decades ago, let's say 2 decades ago, what was Iraq? Sorry, what was Afghanistan? Sorry, what was the Labour Party doing? I know they were doing a lot of great stuff in our cities, in our towns, in our villages across the country, putting money into education and infrastructure and the NHS, getting up to the point where in 2010, when Labour were yeeted out of office, we had the highest satisfaction rating with the NHS in history. In 2010. But at the same time, Iraq, at the same time, Afghanistan, over 100,000 people died in Iraq, probably 500,000 actually, because of Britain's intervention and the Americans as well. But when do we go back? Should we go back to the 1960s when the under the Wilson government, when the Labour government, again, they made homosexuality not a crime anymore. Good stuff. They brought down the age of voting to 18. Great stuff. Cool. Awesome. Brilliant. Bring it on. They got rid of the death penalty. God, fucking awesome, right? But also, they were involved in foreign conflicts that we should probably not be, too proud about getting involved in. They didn't get involved in Vietnam, to be fair. But still, there's definite splodges on their notebook, on their copybook from that era. And not least because, the economy fucking tanked as a result of some of the decisions that Labour had made. And then in the 1940s, when they got in, they were only in for 6 years. And they did some amazing shit. 1945 to 1951. What did they do? They did, they got the NHS up and running, didn't they? God, the mediocre state of the state, pensions and dole and child benefits and all that, that really got turned around in those years. But let's not forget, let us all not forget that 2 fucking fucked up things happened while Labour were in power between 1945 and 1951. One of which was the partition of India, in which 1 million people died. It was supposed to be a 5-year handover. They did it in 6 months, and 1 million human beings were basically beaten to death because it wasn't like a stand-up war where, a group of people came from one side and the group of people came from the other and they met on a battlefield and shot each other. No. People were hacked to death by their neighbours. 1 million people. And it's very easy to put the blame for that on the floor of Labour under Clement Attlee. What was the other thing they did? Develop the fucking nuclear bomb. I mean, come on, people. Let's not kid ourselves. Labour have never been the hard left party that people kind of mythologise and have this nostalgia for when Labour really stood up for, the working classes. Of course, they stood up for the working class a lot more than the Tories ever did. The Tories just shit all over the working class at every given opportunity. You want a house? No, you can't have one. We're going to privatise the entire housing market, the housing sector. You want cheap electricity? Nah, we're going to privatise it. You want water? Doesn't have shit in it? Nah, we're going to privatise it. We're going to bust unions. We're going to make it really hard to go on strike because, we want you to work for fucking buttons. Labour in 1997, famously brought in the minimum wage in the first administration of Labour from 97 to 2001. Brought in the minimum wage, fucking brilliant, great, good stuff. They also brought in tuition fees. Got to take the buff at this move. After saying they wouldn't bring in tuition fees, they brought in tuition fees. Yeah, bit of a U-turn there. Bit of a U-turn. So, I don't want to spend the whole morning bashing Labour because we're supposed to be talking about Melania. But don't let people kid you. Don't let people fool you that Labour wants this wonderful party of peace and love and understanding. It was the party that secretly put money into developing the nuclear bomb. And to give the Tories some credit, here you go. CFCs, worldwide ban, led by a Tory government, unfortunately, under Thatcher. But also not just the end of apartheid in South Africa. Don't forget the meetings with Thabo Mbeki and the representative of the F.W. de Klerk's party. They took place in secret in the UK, facilitated by the Tories. Likewise, the negotiations that led to the Good Friday Agreement, which Tony Blair took all the credit for, a lot of that groundwork was done by the John Major government. This is the thing. It's very easy for me to just go, Tories are bad, they're evil, and the Labour are wonderful, they never do anything wrong. But the reality is, politics is messy. Humans are messy. And I'll always go back to, the sage words of Phil. If I get 50% of what I want from Labour, that is infinitely better than getting 0% of what I want from the Tories. Oh, less than 0 from fucking refuck. Fuck them. Anyway, Martin Harrow, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That's very, very kind of you. In other news, our son's rugby team made the under-16s Lancashire Cup semi-finals yesterday. Well proud of the team. They were nowhere last year. Big round of applause for Martin Harrow's kid who got got to the semi-finals. Well done. Give him a pat on the back from me. Saz has dropped £2 in the super chat fund, which means that it gives me great pleasure to announce that I can unleash the confetti. Confetti! Woo! Yeah, confetti. And I did manage to buy Diz a drink at the weekend, so that was good. At the old Nirvana Fest, I was in the mosh pit for the whole show. I got loads of footage. My new phone's great. I got a Pixel phone. And I filmed a load of it when I was in the mosh pit, panting around, like filming myself. And it's as good as I've got a video camera that's got like a little gimbal in it, whatever, oscillator. What's it called? The thing that keeps gyroscope. It's got a gyroscope in it to keep the thing in the right place, the lens in the right place. And actually, my phone was better quality picture. It's insane. It is insane, especially as a couple of years ago I went to the House of Commons and I had my I had my camera, my little camcorder. It's a little handheld thing. And they took it off me, and I was just like, I held my phone up, and I'm like, this takes better audio, this takes better video, this takes better pictures. But yeah, so yeah, we'll start another girl. Start the girl. Come on, you bastards. It's lunch money from them, Tommy. That deserves confetti. I was assumed you lived near Wembley Stadium. Unsubscribed from Mark Felton as he became too political rather than concentration on history. Ooh, who's Mark? I don't know who Mark Felton is. I feel really bad about that. Kirsty's saying we are getting apartheid from Labour, and I don't want to argue against you, Kirsty, because I think what Labour have done to trans people, making all of my trans friends feel completely unsafe, is completely out of order. And I'm not justifying that. Let me be very clear. What I'm doing is countering the narrative that Labour were anything other than a centrist party. And what I want to say as well, before I forget, here's the thing. When Labour are out of power, whether it's under Corbyn or Foot or anyone, right, they're always a lot more left-wing. Once they get into power, they always shift to the centre ground. Historically, they've always done that every time Labour have been in government. Don't forget, they've only been in government for 33 of the last 100 years. The other 66 fucking years have been under the fucking Tories, who have made an absolute pig's ear of everything they have done. But yeah, when we talk about some good things the Tories have done, the Tories were so much better on trans rights up until the powers that be in about, I think it was 2017, 2018, decided to turn on trans people. Don't forget, they were going to work on the Gender Act, because I think the original was from, correct me, because I know you probably know more about this than I do, but I think it was 2002, the original Gender Recognition Act, and they were going to redo that and make it easier for people to transition. They were going to make it less medically stigmatizing, saying, you've got to have gender dysphoria, which is just fucking mad. It's like saying that being gay, being attracted to men is a mental health disorder, or being left-handed is a mental health, or having, ADHD. I don't see even that as a disorder. I think it's just people's brains just work a bit different. That's what I think. Chris says, I love my Samsung Galaxy phone. I only had one iPhone and wasn't impressed with it. I've always had a Galaxy. I've always had a Samsung. I had brand loyalty to Samsung. They did sponsor the show that I won the island on, so I guess they paid for my island that I won. But I need something that's got good fucking, that can actually film stuff and look good. Main thing with Vietnam, the Yanks convinced themselves it was about communism. Nah, they just wanted their country back. Yeah, true. The media have really done a hit job on Kia. Yeah, they absolutely have. Problem comes, Graham, when you want to sell a Pixel phone. Nobody wants to buy them. They only want to buy Samsung or Apple. Oop. Spit. The anti-trans campaign seems to match Lachlan Murdoch, gaining control from James. Well, also, I'm going to keep banging on about this really horrific stat that came out last year now, that 80% of the, and you need to tell people this because people don't know. Whenever I tell people this, they go, what, really? And go, yeah, you can show them the article. 80% of funding for anti-trans groups in America comes from the oil industry. Not concerned mothers clutching their pearls going, consider the children, it's the money. Let someone please think of the children. No, oil companies. Fucking oil companies. Can you believe that shit? But yeah. Okay, so we're talking about Melania and this fucking documentary. $75 million spent on this piece of shit fucking film. Like, yeah, I could have made it for like fucking 500 quid. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why it should have cost that much to make. Could have made it on free fucking editing software, While Amazon funds Melania, the Washington Post, also owned by Bezos. Jeff Bezos. He owns the Washington Post. He owns Amazon and GM Studios. Okay, so same guy owns both things, right? Meanwhile, while he is paying $75 million to curry favor with that motherfucker, that disgusting blob of foul wretchedness in the White House, right? 200 jobs have been cut from the Washington Post, famously the newspaper that didn't back anyone in this election for the first time in 50 years. The pattern here, expensive investigative journalism, which is already behind a paywall for most of us. Washington Post is behind a paywall. That is cut. Flattering political content, given out for free, to anyone who wants to listen, funded. This isn't coincidence. This is priority signaling. This is exactly what they want to do. They don't want investigative journalists. They don't want the truth getting out. They don't want people finding out what's really going on. I don't sound like a conspiracy theorist when I say that, because the Queen Mum was a lizard. But apart from the Queen Mum being a lizard, which she obviously was, this is making sure that people find it difficult to find things that are true, while they absolutely flood the zone. A phrase used by Steve Bannon, flood the zone, not just with Trump's bullshit every day, but with just too much information, 99% of it utter bullshit, and people are left confused, upset, angry. And here's something else as well, right? When you don't understand something, right, there is a natural feeling of fear about that thing that you don't understand. There is, don't feel bad about it. Everyone gets it. There is this lizard brain part of us that goes, I don't understand that. And it creates fear. So we either don't think about it, or if it's fussing our face every day, we make irrational decisions, because when you're in a panic, you don't think. You don't stop and think. And they don't want to give us a moment to draw breath, to stop and think. And just think about how they flood the zone. Now, AI slop absolutely everywhere. And you've got Facebook owned by a gobshite. You've got the TikTok owned by a gobshite. You've got Twitter owned by a gobshite. All up Trump's arse. Google owned by gobshites. All up Trump's arse. And the one shining beacon on the internet now really is Wikipedia. That's it. Wikipedia. Nothing else compares. Democratized information source for that's used by journalists, by students, by AI that's just scraped the whole fucking lot. Still manages to get it wrong. I mean, AI gets the simple shit wrong. I tell you what, when AI can draw me a map, finally I'll go, okay, it's done something to impress me. But up to this point, right, AI is good at summarizing text and getting rid of the background image of a person. So I can say, oh, there's a person there, and I'll get rid of the background. But is that AI? Is it? That's something that's been available on cameras for quite a while now, and like an in-camera feature. I mean, look, I'm old enough to remember having to use Illustrator and Photoshop and switch between the two and cut out around people's. One of the reasons why, when I started doing videos, I wore a fucking hat was because it was easier to cut myself out when I was using a picture of me to put on a thumbnail or whatever I needed to use it for. It was easier to cut it out with all the little lines or little paths around my head. It took an hour. It took an hour. Like it took just so long to do that. And that's why I wore a hat, because at the time I had long curly hair and it was a fucking nightmare to try and crop around, because you can't just do straight lines. It's got to be all, like this. So being able to get rid of background's fucking brilliant. What else can it do? It can't make maps. It can't make charts. It can't make graphs. It can't make decent TV. It can't write good comedy. What can it do? It can read your email and summarize it. It's fucking clippy. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on one about AI again, but just know that the internet is flooded with shit, and the shit is free and plentiful. And I guess after years and years of eating shit, you grow accustomed to the taste. I don't know. But oh my God, they've made it so difficult to find out what the truth is about anything these days. Investigative journalism hidden behind paywalls. Meanwhile, this Melania documentary will be on Amazon Prime tomorrow, and it'll be free. I don't think anyone's going to fucking pay for it. This is a lost leader. He doesn't care about making money. Across the US media, there's been this massive shift away from reporting facts. Obviously, CBS has been captured by the Trump administration, is now farming out absolute abject nonsense in defense of Trump. We've seen this move away from investigative journalism and hard-hitting reports and reporting what is actually happening towards commentary, hot takes, and ideological framing, he says, making a show on YouTube that consists mostly of hot takes. Nothing if not a hypocrite. But opinion is cheaper, it's faster, it's more emotionally mobilizing. I couldn't do a piece of investigative journalism every day, and if I did, I would be on the fucking poverty line, because I wouldn't get paid, because I'd only be able to put one thing out every month, and hardly anyone would watch it, because they don't want to watch stuff that doesn't seem to be selective exposure. People don't want to watch stuff that doesn't fit with their worldview. And selective exposure was a problem in the past when we had some newspapers and people would only read the Mail or the Express or the Sun or the Mirror, depending on what their political stance was, and they'd never hear the view of the other side because the editorial team were always either very right wing, mostly, or a few papers were a bit left wing, very few. And there weren't that many papers who were interested in reporting the facts. And I'm back in the 90s, right? And I don't want to be all like mythologizing the past because I know it wasn't great. But at least the newspapers, while they were fucking crazy and went, you got to think this is the way to think. We all had to find out how Rupert Murdoch felt about everything from one day to the next. The TV news was pretty good. The TV news, Channel 4 News, ITV, BBC, even Sky News, which was owned by Murdoch, ironically, they had to be independent. And they had to be seen as not taking one side or the other. Now we've got Talk TV and Gammon Box News. We've got all these radio stations like LBC that have one flagship show that's left-wing and everything else is a bunch of public schoolboys telling you what to think and saying, it's so unfair on these people who've got these mansions. I mean, this mansion tax, would you imagine? These people, haven't they suffered enough in their mansion? How dare you take that from them? How dare you make them pay a mansion tax on their mansion? What next? A Lamborghini tax? I ask you, a private helicopter tax? A private yacht tax? What even is this? A gravel driveway fucking tax? Next they'll be saying I can't eat swans. They'll be saying it. They will be. I mean, shit. I mean, come on. A mansion tax. But yeah. Reporting actual investigative journalism is expensive. It is time consuming. It is dangerous for the people who are gathering the information, and also it's dangerous to power. And this setup that we have at the moment suits politics perfectly, because we're moving away from the days where you could trust what you saw on the TV, because you can't anymore because of fucking Gammon Box News. And every time Samsung do an update on our fucking Samsung television, this really pisses me off. How slow are smart TVs? Why are they so slow? Why do you press a button and you have to wait half an hour for it to go to the next block? And then you press it again because you think it hasn't picked it up, and then it moves 2, and then you have to be back. But whenever it does an update and puts the channels back on, because I keep deleting the channels, all of them, all 632 channels, I don't fucking want them. Do you know why? Because underneath the main things that we watch, the actual, Netflix and Disney or whatever, and Apple TV, when there's a free trial, underneath comes up Gammon Box News, recommended for you, and there's no way of getting rid of it except by deleting all the fucking channels. But then a month later, they'll run an update and it'll fucking reappear, rammed down your throat by the dad of the banjo player from fucking Mumford & Sons and Peter Thiel. Huge investor, and the Saudis and the Qataris who also put money into Gammon Box News to try and get the Tories back into power. Rebrand them as refuck if you have to. And then there's a bigger picture here. This isn't about manufactured reality. This isn't about this isn't just about manufactured reality. This is about making sure that everyone in the world thinks a certain way about anything that happens. And so we have entered a world, and Melania Trump's documentary is just one part of this, but it's a framing device for me talking about it. But you are now in a world where something that would have been seen as a universal bad 40 years ago, we see kids in Ethiopia starving with flies on their face, and we go, that's a universal bad. We hear about these politicians who are having their opposition number thrown in jail or tortured to death. And we go, that is bad. Okay, we hear about a government in Central America that's shooting civilians for standing up against the regime. We go, that is bad. We're not there anymore. We are now in a world where people can see children in cages and go, all right. They can see the government agents of the government shooting innocent Americans. Fucking, these aren't even, people who you expect to be attacked by the government, the forces of the government, ethnic minorities, etc. No, these are two people, at least in the last month, who are US citizens and white, and not a single crime on their fucking rap sheet. These were not criminals. These were people who apparently, the regime, they want these people, don't they? Don't they? Apparently not. But you've got people who watch that footage, the exact same footage that you watch, and it makes you sick to your stomach, and they go, that's all right. They see images of children dying of AIDS in Mozambique as a direct result of Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, his Doge cuts to US aid. A direct result. Those children are dying or have already died. Babies. And instead of going, that is horrific, that is disgusting, we need to stop that, people are looking at that and going, oh, well, it's not me, is it? Because people are being told what to think. And if there's any takeaway from this channel, and you tune in, and thank you for sticking with me through thick and thin, I just want it to be like, don't take my word for it. Please don't. I might be able to sway you a little bit one way or the other, and Phil might be able to say some things that get you on board with the way he feels about whatever it is. But also at the same time, look things up for yourself and come to your own conclusions. I'm saying, like, I don't want you to subject yourself to the right wing fucking gobshite manosphere or anything like that. But we look at the papers every day. We know what they're saying. We know what they're saying on the news. Maximilian does a good show where he'll take a clip from something that's happened in the news and he'll talk about it. He's brilliant at it, He's really, really fucking good. So yeah, please make sure that you get your information from a plurality of sources. Got there in the end. And not just from here, right? The point of this channel, more than anything else, as it has evolved, and this channel has evolved, is just to give us somewhere to just let off a bit of steam about what's going on in the world and go, fucking hell, and say this isn't normal. But I'm not an oracle. I'm not the be all and end all. I don't know anything. The more I learn about the world, the more I realize I don't know about stuff, which is hilarious and infuriating in the same measure. But the reality is that there are so many bad actors out there who want to lead you down the garden path and tell you that something is a good thing when it's a bad thing. But like, I have faith in you that no matter what happens, there won't be a case of something where you will see something with your own eyes and hear it with your own ears, and you'll be like, that's not real. Unless it's clearly AI, obviously. But that idea of looking at reality and going, nah, not having that. Or even looking at knowing about stuff. Thank you very much to Viper Scott for the £2 super chat. That is really kind of you to start a new goal for Diz. Oh, thank you. And I want to tell you, right? I'll get back onto Melania's story in a moment, but I want to tell you something. On Saturday, right, I went to the Travel Adventure Show in Olympia. Kensington? Is it Kensington? Yeah, something like that. The Olympia place up from Earls Court, right? And I went because Michael Palin was talking. He's one of my all-time heroes. He was one of the reasons that I embarked on my journey to every country in the world without flying, the first book of which is available. If people give me enough money, I'll write a second one. And also, I knew there were going to be loads of stalls there, and I was going to give out my little gorgeous little business card. I've got to try and not dox myself here because it's got my details on it. There you go. There's my gorgeous little card there. My business card. And the back's got my details, my deets on it. Oh, actually, I can just hold that over there. There you go. That's my little postcard. A little postcard from Papua New Guinea. I wanted to try and get some sponsorship or talk about sponsorship for my big adventure next year when I travel down to Bougainville, the newest country in the world, which is going to come online on the 1st of September 2027. And I hope to travel down there overland through Europe, Central Asia, China, Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, get the boat from Leh, go over there. Funnily enough, I've done that journey before without flying, but I had to go to some other places along the way. I had to go to Japan, and I had to go to East Timor, and I had to go to Bangladesh. But this time I can just make a beeline there. I'm hoping it's going to take me about a month to do it. There's going to be a big problem going across the Caspian Sea because there's a boat that goes from Azerbaijan to a place called Kirkus or somewhere. I'll have to look that up. I'm going to look it up. Sorry, it'll annoy me if I don't know what it's Kazakhstan. If I don't know what it's called, I always get the K and the H around the wrong way in Kazakhstan. That's going to be the not the only issue, but it would be a bit of an issue. Aktu. Yeah, it's the ferry from Baku to Aktu. I should remember that, shouldn't I? Baku, sorry, not Baku. Baku, which is the capital of Afghanistan, across the Caspian Sea to Aktu, and then across. That ferry is not regular. I was really lucky when I was on the Odyssey expedition that I was just there for like one day, and then the ferry left. It was supposed to be leaving in a few days' time, and then I got a phone call saying it's leaving this afternoon, and I had to race to my couch surf place where I was staying and stuff everything into my bag really quick. Race down to the port where the ship was. I got on the ship ready to go. I stayed there for another eight hours before it actually left because the kind of thing that happened. But that's the reason I went, right? And it was good. And I got chatting to quite a few people who seemed interested in putting the story forward for possible sponsorship. I want to be filming every day that I'm traveling. I'm going to be uploading little snippets from the road as I do it, doing live stuff. And I think it'd be really fun. Go out with my selfie stick. I don't have a selfie stick. I'll invest in a selfie stick and go out and take you on a journey from the UK to Bougainville off the coast of Papua New Guinea and back, and all the trials and tribulations that will no doubt take place during my adventures, right? So that's why I went. However, because I'm me, I got chatting with people who wasn't necessarily part of my journey. I just like talking to people. I talked to the guy from the Woodland Trust. That was really interesting, about planting new trees in the UK and how little of the UK is actually covered by forests compared with other countries in Europe. In other countries, it's around 33%. In the UK, it's like 15% or something. It's really dismal. But then I got chatting with a guy. I think his name was Josh, maybe. If you are watching, Josh, hiya. If your name's not Josh, I'm sorry. From the WWF, not the World Wrestling Federation, because that's not a thing anymore. This is the World Wildlife Fund, right? And a few things that just really stood out from what he said was, first of all, there are so few members of the WWF. There's only 10,000 in the UK, which is fuck all. And that was quite surprising. I kind of thought there'd be more than that. And it made me really want to join the WWF. But something else really made me want to join. Because this adventure show, right, has been there for the last few days. I think it was like a 4-day thing, right? I just went for one day. And I got a free ticket, by the way, through Catherine. It wasn't even my free ticket. I actually spoke there 13 years ago. After I was about to finish my first journey. I think I was on the way. I was literally on the way to Russia, to Kaliningrad. Anyway, so this guy says to me, do you know what's really messed up? The last few days, I've had verbal abuse thrown at me by people walking past for the World Wildlife Fund. And I'm thinking, what? And he's like, yeah, it's insane. I've been working for these guys for the last 10 years. Never had shit off anyone. Never had any shit, right? And then this year, because of these gobshites who feel empowered by Farage and Trump, Tyson, twats like JD Vance, and people shouting that climate change is a hoax when it's really not. When the depletion of species around the world is a hoax when it's absolutely not. Look at the birds. Look at what birds we got now. Pigeons and magpies. That's it. You're lucky if you see any other fucking birds these days. When I was a kid in the summer, right? If we drove anywhere, if we drove to, I don't know, Wales or we went somewhere on a camping holiday, we got back and the windscreen of the camper van was absolutely splattered all over with insects. Now, not a single fucking insect. Where have all the insects gone? Where have the fucking bees gone? Where have the hedgehogs gone? We've lost like 85% of the fucking population of hedgehogs in the last fucking few years. And yet, this guy who's working for the World Wildlife Fund, which you just think is, a neutral good, because it's just trying to protect animals who can't protect themselves against the machinations of the evil billionaires who want to destroy Farthing Wood and drive all the animals out onto a horrifying adventure. That's a sort of fucked up thing we were forced to watch as children. God, I'm having flashbacks now to the bloody when the hedgehogs were trying to cross the motorway. Oh my God. Anyway, so yeah, he was getting verbal abuse from people walking past for the first time in his life. What? And this is the world. This is the world as Trump wants it, where we're all at each other's throat, and even people just being nice, just being normal, like just doing things out of kindness and a desire to see a better world, are being sneered at, are being verbally abused at a fucking travel show, a travel expo. Are you fucking kidding me? And this is it, This is this new reality in which we live, in which the incompetent, the idiotic, the loud and obnoxious feel like they've been unleashed. We saw this after Brexit, the fucking Brexit vote, where friends of mine who are mixed race or black or Asian or South American were abused verbally for the first time in their lives in the community in which they grew up in. And it's because the racists felt like they could get away with it. They felt like they'd been empowered. They felt like everyone agreed with them when the vast majority don't. Well, here we have a world where culture is politicized. You have in the out group or the in group, everyone's fighting against each other. Absolutely does my head in. And the media owners align with the government. And you don't need formal censorship. You don't need it. You just starve anything that's inconvenient. You just make sure that the truth is hidden behind a paywall and flood the zone with propaganda. Fill it with noise. Fill it with bullshit. So nobody knows what to believe anymore. And this is what media capture looks like. And this is what happens in every fascist regime in history. Going back to the fucking Romans, this happened. Going back to the ancient Greeks, this happened. You take control of what people believe, what people see, the worldview of people. Why do you think that while London has become more safe than ever before, people are believing that it's become less safe, and that there's millions, perhaps even billions being spent on propaganda, on bots, on bullshit artists who are flooding the internet with these stories, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of made up stories about how bad London is, how dangerous London is. Now, to be fair, I did spend a lot of time in London last week, and I was murdered 17 times before breakfast, because that's just what happens in London. But aside from being murdered 17 times before breakfast, I didn't get my phone robbed. I was going around taking selfies with me and people, walking down the street, talking to my camera like I normally do. I mean, I know people get their phone snatched in London, but people get their phone snatched all over the world. Have you been to Barcelona? But this is the thing, fascism isn't just about the fucking jackboots. It's not just about the concentration camps. It's about propaganda. It's about who owns the media, and now social media, who gets the streaming deals, who gets these prestige premieres, a lot of very, very expensive, very bad films. And this is the world that these gobshites want to create. And we need to fight back, and we need to point out as often and as loud as possible that this is bullshit, and we are not going to stand for it. And we're going to see through it, and we're going to say, no, We don't want this. This is not the world that we want to leave behind. We do not want to leave behind a world for our children, of our stepchildren, of our nephews and nieces. It's just anyone in the generations below us. We don't want to leave a worse world than what we found it, because that's a twatty thing to do. That is going into a picnic spot and leaving a load of fucking litter and taking a big shit on the picnic table. Why would you do that if you're not a psychopath? Why don't you want to make things better? Why do you not want to plant seeds to grow a tree in the shade of which you will never fucking sit in? That's what we should all be aspiring to do. But the morality we're seeing right now has become so skewed, so venomous, so evil in so many ways that unless we kick off, unless we strike back, I can't see the future that these gobshites want. They will get it unless we fight back. We have to. We have to kick up a fuss in any way that we can. And I know that we're limited. I know there's things in our heads we'd love to fucking do and we can't because of fiscal reality, because of family connections, because of the things that bind us to this land for one reason or another. I do what I can. I'd love to do more, but I'm not in a position of power. I never will be. And I don't think I would want to be, because I don't want to be making those decisions. I would not like to have Keir Starmer's job right now. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Although at the same time, I don't want someone like Nigel Farage, who probably is my worst enemy, to have that much power, because you're putting power in the hands of a gobshite. And what are we going to have? I don't know, maybe we'll get a documentary about Farage's mistress, whose sister wife or whatever he's with these days, and this 800 fucking £1,000 starter home that she bought in Clacton. It's funny that, isn't it? Where she got the money from being a waitress. Must have saved up on free lattes, I guess. She didn't have to pay for a latte. She didn't have to pay for her avocado butties, eh? As long as you don't have to pay for your avocado butties, you can save up for the deposit that size. Yeah, life is being chubby browned again. Yeah. Diz says, I went to London and didn't get murdered either. Oh, did you get a little bit murdered though, Diz? I mean, I came close in the mosh pit. Actually, no. Do you know what? Right, before we go on to the papers, I just want to give credit to the people at the Nirvana gig, right? I expected it to be, fat old bloody middle-aged grey-haired wankers like myself going, oh, I remember them the first time round. But it wasn't. In the mosh pit, there were a lot of young people just having a really fucking good time. And although I assume, because like many gigs that I've been to these days, Glastonbury and festivals and individual gigs, there's hardly ever a mosh pit. And let me explain to you, in the 90s, there was always a mosh pit. We had mosh pits at Pulp. We had mosh pits at fucking Radiohead, for fuck's sake. I'm sure if Air ever played a gig, there was probably a mosh pit. There's probably a mosh pit at Enya, okay? It was just what happened at gigs. There was always a fucking mosh, one way or another. But it seems to be a lost art, right? Let's say. But on Saturday night, there was a mosh pit. It went for the whole gig. It was fucking brilliant, right? And it held to the law of the mosh pit. You got to understand this. Like, if someone falls over, you don't keep pushing people around. You stop and you pull them back on their feet. If someone's we had loads of crowd surfers as well, something that, again, you don't get too many crowd surfers. Watch Radiohead play Glastonbury in 1997. There's a shitload of crowd surfers. I didn't see a single crowd surfer at Glastonbury last year. Not a single one. But we had crowd surfers. You know when someone goes over your head and they might kick you in the back of the head because, you weren't paying attention? It's fine. If you don't want that to possibly happen, don't stand at the front of the gig, all right? That's just the mosh pit rule. But if someone is, you make sure they don't fall on the ground, and you make sure that you don't punch them as they go past, like someone did to me when I was at the V96 festival. Bastard. Actually, no, they grabbed me hair. Anyway, you know, the fact that you have this really sort of anarchic space where people are like pushing each other around, but at the same time, we don't want anyone to actually get hurt. We're just having fun. We're just play fighting. And it was fucking boss. It was absolutely fucking boss. It was, I mean, yeah, it was a Nirvana cover band, but I think I had the best time at that gig that I've had at a gig for a very long time, because it was just fun. It was just fun. And it was a blast from the past. And I know I'm too old to be in fucking mosh pits. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Don't care. It was fun. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you so much for the £10 super chat. Oh my God, I set off the confetti. Sorry, that was the wrong button. I meant to press that one. Super chat. Sorry to go back to early conversation, but I think from a trans person point of view, Starmer's taken away our hope. In the 90s, when things were bad, we at least had hope that Labour would be better. Yeah, but Labour, and I understand, look, Paula, I'm not dismissing that in any way, shape or form. And I will say that Labour, they made things a bit better. They did bring in the Gender Recognition Act. They did bring in the Equality Act that has now been misconstrued by the Supreme Court, the neighbour of fucking J.K. Compton Rowling. But Labour could put in a statutory instrument to and amend the 2010 Equality Act to put a glossary in, an appendix or whatever the fuck it's called, and say that for the purposes of this act, female women means cisgender women and also trans women. But if you want to make it strict, say they have to have a gender recognition certificate as well. But then make it more easy to get a gender recognition certificate, a project that Theresa May's government were working on. I absolutely understand where you're coming from, Paula, and I understand why Labour are fucking doing so shit in the polls and why people are very, very, very unhappy with Starmer. The point I was making, Starmer is more unpopular than he really should be, given the fact that there have been prime ministers who have been objectively worse. So much worse. Perhaps not towards the trans community, but certainly, I mean, imagine Liz Truss. What would Liz Truss be doing now if she was the prime minister? Heaven forfend. I really shudder to think. And the other thing was about Labour in general not being this party of the hard left. They never, when they're out of power, under Michael Foot, 1983, yep, fair enough, party of the hard left. Under Corbyn, 2017, 2019, party of the hard left, like, fine, but whatever. They lost those elections. They lost those elections badly, bigly. Yeah, don't think for a moment that I'm saying we should abandon the trans community in order to support Labour. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we should put a lot of pressure on Labour at every opportunity to make life better for trans people instead of making life worse, which seems to be the crusade that they're on at the moment, which makes no moral sense, but also it makes no political sense either. And as we're finding out, as venues are saying, we're not building a separate fucking toilet, you absolute wankers. It makes no financial sense either. We're going to have a separate toilet so trans women don't piss in a fucking cubicle next to me. Oh, really? Were you going to use that toilet in that happy eater, J.K. Rowling? Fucking arseholes. Made it to Houston for the trek back to Butte. Much love to you all and great to meet Graham Politics. Thanks, Yuri. Really lovely to meet you, my friend, and everyone who is part of the Bouge. I've got my Bouge bracelets on. There it is. It says Bouge. I was gifted this by A. Thompson. If you're not already subscribed to A. Thompson's channel, please get subscribing because Aid is fucking awesome. He's really good. He's the level-headed person I'll never be. L says there are badges on sale for trans allies. It read, I could be trans. The idea is to confuse transphobes. Anyone could be trans. Chris sees an idea on making stuff they sell big. That's a really good idea. J.K. Rowling, who invited Epstein to her show. I didn't see that. But yeah, Yuri, getting to Houston yesterday. Me and Franny, we were hanging on to meet up with Alex from Political X. By the way, in the what's it called, the posts for this channel, if you go over there, I've got photos. I've got 10 photos from my trip. It maxes out at 10, which is annoying. So there's a few more. If you follow me on what's it called, that there Facebook, it's a lot easier now. It's just Graham David Hughes. so / Graham David Hughes, the same taggers for Threads and for B-Sky and for Instagram. It's just Graham David Hughes. It's just my name. My website is Graham David Hughes. If you have a look on there, you'll see photos from the last week. And before we get into the papers again, and I just want to thank you, everyone who watched the shows. I want to thank everyone who came along to the Nirvana gig. It was just like so much fun and really cool to meet you and meet you all, and especially joyous meeting Diz, who I do owe Diz, because without Diz I probably would not get as much super chats as I do. And also Diz works tirelessly as a mod on this channel and is fucking fantastic at it. So thank you very much, and obviously Yuri and the others. But yeah, it was fantastic. I got to hang out with Scott, and we did a America fucking thing. What's it called? What's my America show called? Stateside. Trump Watch. Mate, Stateside. We did the Stateside together. And then on the Monday also, before I met up with Scott, I met up with my mate Lindsay, who I haven't seen for over a year, who's had a baby, who's gorgeous, and it was lovely. Spent the afternoon together. I ate a lot of cheese, and then the next day I saw my mate Heather and hung out with her, and that was really lovely. And again, it's like my mates down in London. It's all very well texting people, but actually being there in person, it's just fantastic. And she made me bangers and mash, which is fantastic. She's a supermodel, from the 90s, like a proper one, like a Naomi Campbell friend of. Not these days, though, for various reasons. But yeah, I've never had a supermodel make me bangers and mash before. And then on the Wednesday, I went to see Rach and her beautiful wife, and we hung out in her place down in Kent. Went to the pub, and I had the most delicious meal I think I've eaten in a very, very long time, probably in about 15 years. The last meal that was that good was in Jayapura, on the border between West Papua and Papua New Guinea, and it was a fresh catch of squid, sweet and sour, in an awning at the side of the water. That just fresh catch, just come in. Oh, delicious. And it was up there. It was up there with. I'll remember that meal. I will remember that meal. That was amazing, and we got to do the rabbit hole with Mike. And on the Thursday, I got to go and visit Hannah in Hampshire, and we did the special edition of The Intersection, something that we want to revive. We want to be doing more episodes of The Intersection going forward, and that was fantastic. I got to meet her pet snake called Zeppelin, and her bearded dragon, and her gecko, and yeah, and the frozen mice in her freezer. So that was fun. And got to meet Hannah's dad as well. Hannah's dad, Mark, who's in our politics group, by the way, randomly. So while we're making jokes in our politics groups about AIDS dad's balls, basically Hannah's dad's in the chat going, So that was wonderful. And then on the Friday, me and Hannah jumped on the train back to London, got the train down to Brighton to say hello to Mike Dix, who's going through a lot at the moment, and we absolutely love Mike. And Mike had never met Hannah in real life before, so that was really lovely. We went to the pub and put the world to rights, and then I jumped on the train back to London. Went to meet up with Pranay in the Docklands. He has an amazing apartment. Oh my God, Pranay! Wow, it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit wow. And yeah, got to meet his lovely girlfriend, and we got to make a show together. We got to do the Friday night social with Scott came on, and Wayne came on as well. And we were originally going to do that in the pub, but just time was against us getting set up and finding somewhere with decent internet. And obviously you got sound problems to play and record with music. You'll get a copyright strike. There's a lot of things to think about. It's not as easy as it used to be when I used to film the Three Blokes in the pub, and then I'll edit it, so it wasn't streaming. But yeah, so we did that. And then on the Saturday, like I said, up early again. There was a lot of booze. On Saturday, I went to the Telegraph. It's not the Telegraph anymore. It's the Times. It's new sponsorship. The Times Adventure Show at Olympia. Made a new friend. I was explaining about my travels around the world to someone who might, be up for, had an adventure travel company. Who might be up for doing a bit of sponsorship for my travels. Explaining, look, I'm not asking you to pay for me holiday. I'm doing this anyway. I'm going to be staying with local people, couch surfing. I'm going to be taking public transport. It doesn't cost very much. And a guy comes over to me and goes, Graham. And I went, oh, hello. And he said, yeah, his name is Mark. And he was really lovely. And we talked about travels around the world. He'd followed my travels back in the day. And we ended up going to the pub together to see Sean because it's Sean's birthday. And we met up with Pranay. Then we in Old Street, and then we got on another train to Angel, went to Islington for the gig, met up with all of the Bruges and Aid, and Pranay came to the gig as well. And then after the gig, we met up with Scott. Oh my God, it was just like everything worked. And then the next day, got up, went for lunch with Pranay, Tottenham Court Road, met up with Alex Kerr from Political X. I don't want to objectify anyone here, but fuck me, God damn, he is a good-looking man. He's a catch. Not saying that all my other friends aren't catches as well, because they absolutely are. But yeah, Alex in particular. So I had to leg it to Euston with my backpack, running up the fucking stairs, running up the escalator to the left, going, excuse me. Got on the train with minutes to spare, and then spent about 9 hours getting back to bloody Durham because the East Coast main line was offline, and I had to go via Crewe and Manchester and walk across Manchester and then get the train to Durham. The Transpennine Express was really annoying at that time of night on a Sunday. It just stops for like half an hour. It stopped in like Leeds for like half an hour, then it stopped in York, then it stopped in Darlington. I was like, yay, I'm in Darlington, I'll be home in 15 minutes, and then to half an hour later, I'm like, are we gonna move? But 9-hour journey, I was trying to do a cryptic crossword, right? I normally do the one in the Metro, which is fairly reasonable. It uses words that I know. The one I was trying to do the one in the Times, and I just want to tell you, friends, I got 4. I got 4 answers. 4. Yeah, go me. So yeah, that was my week, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And just a big shout out to everyone who gave me a roof for the night, or bought me a drink, or I bought them a drink, or just gave me a hug. I like me hugs. and it just, I found it really life affirming, because I feel like we're all online. We don't see each other in real life as much as we would like to. And we tend to get all up in our heads. And I think it's just wonderful to know that there are lovely people out there who are hospitable and generous and kind and want to have a laugh. That's all I want, If I ruled the world, I'm going to just make sure everyone's got enough food and water and somewhere to live, and then just let them have fun. Jesus Christ. Why doesn't someone stand on that platform? Vote for me, and I'm going to make everything a lot more fun. All right? Let's stop going on. Let's stop demonizing groups in society. Let's stop spinning the wheel of hate. Single mothers, trans women, the immigrants coming over, the people here, the people. Do you know what I mean? Like, just stop it. Just have fun. Just have a big party. Every week we'll have a party. Every city, every town, every village. Let's just have a party. One of the things I loved about traveling around the world, one of the many things I loved, was the fact that everywhere I went, there seemed to always be a fiesta, always a festival. There was always some kind of celebration. People dancing in the streets, just letting off streamers, maybe popping some fucking fireworks or something. And whenever you have those occasions, I try to make the most of it. And it's one of those things where, like, we're not here for a long time. I know it's a cliche, but we're here for a good time. How about, right, we make a new political party, you and me, right? Let's do it. Call it Good Times. What do you reckon? The Good Times. Good Times Party. Yeah. So you got Labour going, we don't like trans people. And you got the Lib Dems going, we don't really have policies. And then you got the Greens saying, we need to smash the oligarchs. And then you've got the refuck fuckers saying, we need to fuck the oligarchs up the bum because they love it. And then you've got the Tory lot going, we need to feather our own nests and all that. And then we've got us. And we just come along and say, hey, let's just have a party. Let's have the party. Let the good times roll. There you go. There's your fucking slogan there. Let the good times roll. Anyway, a boy can dream. The Facebook link is not working. Is it not? Maybe oh, is there a Facebook link in my YouTube? Oh, this is interesting because it used to be that Ginger Scouser and I changed it to Graham Davis Hughes a while ago. Maybe I didn't. Sorry, maybe I didn't update it. Let's have a look. Customized channel. Is it the link in the politics section? Sorry about not making a few of the thumbnails. I will get that sorted. Customized channel. Graham Politics. Custom URL. Links. Become a patron. Oh, it's not there. Right, let me just go to Facebook and I will add the link. Facebook.communism at. It's you have to do the at now, don't you? I don't know, something like that. Graham David Hughes. Let's see, does that work? It does work. Yes. Okay, so Facebook. Here you go. And then we can add a link to, I don't know, Instagram. Instagram. Let's see if I can just. Sorry, you got no interest in watching me do this. I know. Instagram. Let's have a look. Profile isn't available. Maybe there's no at. Maybe there's no at in Instagram. Maybe I'm messing up. Yes, there's no at. Okay, well there you go. So you learn something every day. So there's my Instagram link, and then what have we got these days? We've got Threads, haven't we? Should we add the Threads link? Fred West. That's what Threads stands for. Now it was really funny because when Threads first launched, they didn't have Threads.com. That was someone else who owned that. It was Threads.net for a long while, but it looks like Threads.com is now owned by Zuckerberg. So there you go. Add the Threads, and then finally let's add Blue Sky. Blue Sky. I'm not very good on the whole putting things out. I generally put things out on Facebook, and then I'll just allow it to repost to Instagram and that other bloody thing. What's it called? You know, Threads. Let's see if we go. So it's annoyingly Blue Sky isn't bluesky.com. It's B-Sky. I always fall for that. Oh, it's not even .com, is it? Is it bsky.net? Oh my god! Pay your lecky bill. Pay your lecky bill, Blue Sky. Oh, it's .app. Oh my god, even worse. Pay your lecky bill. Get yourself a .com. Why would you buy something if it doesn't allow you to do a .com? Oh, again, just trying to see if you have to put an at. Do you put an at? Do you put no? There is no. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna go home. Oh, take me home. Take me home. Oh, right. Okay, there's literally it just takes me to the Blue Sky app. Right, so I don't get my own little URL. So how do I save? How do I save my Blue Sky? Fucking how do I get people to visit my Blue Sky page? Go to profile. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh wow, it's a really long address, and it's like bsky.app./profile/ Graham David Hughes. Put .bsky. Oh, for God's sake, really? Do I have to put all that in? Maybe I can get rid of the bsky social, because that just seems like over-egging the pudding. No, that's not a valid handle. What the hell? Sort your handles out, mate. Come on. Right, sorry, this is very boring for the people watching. I am doing something here. I'm adding all of my socials. There we go. And there we go. They are now added. Cool. And now I'll view my channel. View my channel. And there we go. Patreon and one more link. Okay, that's not great, is it? Add link. Okay. Why is it not allowing me to publish? Why is it not allowing me review it for errors? Oh, I've got an error. That's why it's not letting me do something. Where's this fucking error? Sorry, everyone. I'll get to your confetti in a moment, your confetti desires. Where the bloody... Why is it not... Review this page. Review this page with possible errors before your edits. So banner image is fine. Picture's fine. Name is fine. Handle is fine. Pronouns. Should I add my pronouns? There you go. Let's just add my pronouns. He, him. He, him. There you go. Oh, type to find your pronoun. Filter by language. Oh my God. All right, I don't even want to do... Oh. Right, here's me being trying to be a good ally here. Put my pronouns in. Then will you allow me to publish? I can't even type them in. What's it? He. There we go. English. He, him. There we go. Okay, good. Right. Visible only to my subscribers. Nah, fuck that. Visible to everyone, because I know that it annoys the gam. Oh, I see. All right. Okay. Right, now it's been published. Do you know what it was? I pressed add another one. There was a blank bit at the bottom. There was a blank field. It didn't like the blank field. Now let's just refresh my YouTube at YouTube / Graham Politics. And we have got, Patreon and 5 links. So that's good. It's taking me 5 more links. Let's have a look. Yay! We've got Politics Social, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. So if you're not subscribed on those other channels, feel free to subscribe to them. You're not going to hear anything new. It's just going to be recycled shite that I come out with anyway. But, if you want to. It doesn't make any financial difference to me whatsoever. If you do want to support me, though, you can become a Patreon or you can become a member of the channel. You press the join button and become a member of the channel. And the other way, obviously, bottom. Super chat is just becoming a member, becoming a Patreon, or if you look up Graham David Hughes on PayPal, you can pay me direct and say it's for friends and family, so you don't pay any charge. We're all friends here. Take that, bloody Thiel. Gobshite. Urine Infectanol, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. We need some confetti, make the world brighter. I completely agree, Yuri. You're absolutely on the money there. Are you on the train as well? Are you on the train watching this? And then Resloy, Monster Raving Loony Party. They sound great. They do. I figure I'd rather my money be ripped off and help the trees instead of some greedy political parties. Yeah. And that's the thing as well, like, there's a really interesting cycle, because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I did a psychology module when I was studying politics at university, but I'm like an armchair. You know this about me. I'm an armchair fan of like science and technology and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's really interesting that the psychology of doing stuff. Okay, so if, for instance, if something's given to you, you don't put as much value in it as something that you worked towards. So if you get a freebie, if you get a free thing, and people go, "Oh, thank you," you get it as a gift. But if you work towards that thing and you achieved getting it, you feel a lot more of attachment to it. And this is a pernicious thing that credit cards do, because they give you the money in advance. You don't have to work for it. You have to work for it after the event, and then it becomes a bit of a hassle because you don't get a reward at the end of it. You've already got the reward for doing fuck all except having a credit card, and then you've got to work hard to pay off that debt, which isn't as satisfying. It's nowhere near as satisfying as saving up to buy a thing, for instance. But also, they found that IKEA furniture, even though it's, cheap shit, it's MDF, it's cheap shit, it's fine, we've got and that I think that is from IKEA. There's a bookshelf over there, that's IKEA. I think it's a Billy bookshelf. And I understand, I get it, people need something that's fairly cheap, and actually bespoke carved furniture is fucking expensive, so I completely get that. And it looks aesthetically okay. It's okay, it's fine. But here's the thing, right? Because people have to put together their own IKEA stuff, right? People have more affection for it. They have more of a, I put that together because it gave them a sense of achievement. It gives me a sense of achievement, right? I'm not belittling people. I'm not saying, oh, they're silly people thinking that it's great to put a table together. No, I fucking love it. I enjoy doing it in the same way I enjoy doing jigsaw puzzles and making things out of Lego, like my globe over there. Thank you. Thank you to my beautiful friends, Doug and Cliff, for sorting me out with that. And here's the thing, right? When it comes to stuff like tidying up your neighborhood, planting some trees, it makes people feel good. And I don't understand why, especially like local politicians and stuff. They could do really well, I think, if they organise stuff for everyone, not just the people in their party, not just their volunteers, but they went round in their ward or their constituency saying Saturday at 12 o'clock, meet on the high street and we're going to pick up litter. Meet on the field over there and we're going to plant a load of trees. Obviously, within parameters that make sense, because a lot of trees have been planted, especially near motorways, that fucking die because they're the wrong type of tree, they're planted at the wrong time of year, and the soil quality is not particularly great, etc. And there's no point in planting a fucking tree if the tree's not going to survive. So yeah, I mean, having that feeling when you drive past or you go past on the bus or you cycle past and you see trees and you think, I planted that. It is an awesome feeling because you had a hand in shaping the lived reality, the physical reality of your environment. And there's something innately satisfying in that. And it kind of infuriates me that the people who are in charge, politicians, MPs, councillors, or whatever, don't get that and don't harness that energy. You know, talking to Steve Rotherham and Andy Burnham about the carbon, and Ed Miliband about the carbon neutral scheme. Like, if I had the money, right? If I had £100,000, right, I would do a scheme called the carbon natural scheme, right? The C natural, like, you know, the note C natural, right? After you've had a sharp or a flat, you have a C natural. And it's a competition between Liverpool and Manchester for which one can be net zero first. Oh my God, that would get everyone on board. It would so get everyone on board. You don't understand the rivalry between Liverpool and Manchester. Unless you're from Liverpool and Manchester, you can't quite grasp it. It is, by and large, a friendly rivalry, but it is deep. It is a deep rivalry. And it's music, and it's football, and it's culture, and it's our accents, and it's our cuisine. For instance, Manchester is known for its amazing curries, whereas Liverpool has a much better Chinatown. So we're more known for our Chinese takeaways and our Chinese chippies, which do the most amazing curry sauce in the world. And I have no argument on that because I've tried it. I did that, and definitely Liverpool number one, not just because I grew up with it, but harness that power. Harness the power of the rivalry between Liverpool and Manchester. And then you can do this again. Sunderland, Newcastle, York and Leeds, maybe, I don't know. Oxford and Cambridge. Fucking Bath and Bristol. Just do it. Any cities that are close to each other and have a little bit of a rivalry. Say, right, we're going to have a competition. And whoever wins this competition, everyone under the age of 18 is going to get £1,000 each. Fucking that. I mean, when it comes to budgets of like Hollywood movies and stuff, that's fuck all. That's like fuck all. That's a tiny, tiny amount of the money that we give in subsidies to the oil companies that are continuing to you know. When we were fighting against Brexit, I just couldn't understand why. Well, I did understand why, but it drove me up the freaking wall. The freaking wall that Labour did not harness the power of 1 million people going to London and marching on the streets. How could they be so thick as to look at that and go, no, don't want any part of it, don't want to see a single EU flag. You fucking idiots. Because those people weren't just voters. They were activists. They were people who were prepared to get off their arse and travel down to that there London and go and march on the street and then go back to where they came from. In the north, in Wales, in Scotland, in the southwest. That is phenomenal. Because they cared so much about that particular issue. And yet Labour's like, should we harness the power? Nah, fuck it. Leave them to it. It's not our battle. We'll just support the fucking Tories to give Britain the fucking hardest Brexit possible. We'll pull out. We'll pull out of Erasmus and Euratom. We'll pull out of the fucking fingerprint scheme, so we don't know who's coming in. We'll pull out of Horizon, so we'll get rid of all this funding for medical research because medical research. What do we need medical research for? We've obviously cured cancers, all of them. We don't need any research into Alzheimer's or dementia. Fuck that shit. Let's leave. Yeah, thanks, Labour. Fucking arseholes. I mean, you think Labour are bad now. My take on it is, as you know, I'm doing my best, and don't hate me for this, but I'm trying to help. Don't know if that's the right word. Push, gentle shove in the right direction for Labour, and I don't think that will be best achieved by me leaving and joining the Greens. That may change. I am not wedded to any one political party, never have been, never will be, although Owen Jones did give me shit in the 2022 Labour Party conference. He gave me shit for not always voting Labour. I wouldn't vote for them in 2005 because of the Iraq War. In 2010 I did vote for them. 2015 I did vote for them. But then in 2017 I stood for myself. And then I joined the Lib Dems because they were the only party who were taking the fight against Brexit anywhere by the looks of things. And I stood as a councillor. And I was a paper candidate. I was never going to win. In my ward of Knotty Ash in Liverpool. You know that's a real place, right? You know that wasn't just made up by Ken Dodd. You know Knotty Ash is my parish. It's like my mum and dad got married in Knotty Ash Church over the road from Ken Dodd's house. True story. It's a real place. It's not Hobbiton. It's not Narnia. Knotty Ash really exists. But it's a Labour stronghold. I stood no chance of actually winning. I think in one of the elections that I stood, I don't think I was in the country. I think I was in Panama when the count happened. I was like, yeah, you can put my name down if you like. I don't care. I'm not going to win. But yeah, after the debacle of the 2019 election, I left the Lib Dems because I was fucking disgusted with them for voting and forcing a bloody general election in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. What were they thinking? With against Boris Johnson, give Boris Johnson everything that he wanted. Something that the SNP and Labour went along with. They're fucking idiots. And that bloody Joe Swinson. Imagine there was a cult of Joe Swinson. Like, imagine if Joe Swinson was making like YouTube videos like Liz Truss, or there were still thousands of people all over Threads and Blue Sky and shitter going on and on and on about, if Joe Swinson was still the leader, if only Joe Swinson was still the leader. Be a bit weird, wouldn't it, after she lost so fucking badly. But yeah, arrogance, bad advice. People get it all up in their heads like they're going to fucking change the world by, I don't know, what? Losing an election? I don't know. But yeah, there's people out there who are willing and able to get off their arse and do something, to plant a fucking tree, to build a playground for the kids, to clear up a fucking bit of wasteland that's been used as a dump site. Yeah, just help out. If people are willing to fucking, all we're asking for is a bit of organisation. Think about like when you have friends, and whether you're a friend who makes things happen, or where you're a friend who lets things happen. There's always one in a group of friends who organises you all to meet up. There's always one, right? Get them on board. That person who's fucking proactive, get them on board, because then they'll bring their friends. It's as simple as that. And the fact they don't is just, yeah. And Urine Infectinov has. Oh, thank you so much, Yuri. set off the confetti cannon. Second time. Yay! Confetti, says Diz. Which is absolutely awesome. And I know I've wibbled on quite a lot this morning. We're coming up to nearly the 2-hour mark. Jesus Christ! But I'm gonna continue on. If you're happy to stay with me, if you don't want to go and listen to James O'Brien or something, which you're welcome to do. But it's Monday morning. I've been drinking all week and traveling around, waking up in a new bed every morning, or on a new couch, or on a new inflatable mattress. It's been fucking awesome. And so yeah, I'm in travel mode. I love this. I could do this all day. Seriously, could put me in travel mode, and it energizes me. It's like the fucking Sword of Omens, or like what was the name of He-Man's sword? Can't remember now. Excalibur, Excelsior. What the fuck it? I can't remember. I have the power. What was the name of? Oh, someone's got to tell me in the chat now. It's going to annoy the crap out of me. You're an infected off says, yes, great in politics. Train from Euston to Glasgow Central. Arrive 15:01 and then Wemyss Bay and then ferry home. Wow, that's pretty cool. Gotta love a wonky cupboard. Silver and gold rattled for the past 12 months, so the correlation was going to happen, but didn't expect it to be so dramatic, honestly. Magpies, crows, and ravens are very intelligent birds. I always see them work puzzles out. It's like second nature to them. Yeah. It's really satisfying watching animals suss shit out. Pigeons are good at that as well, you know. Pigeons are good at problem solving. Although it's very easy to confuse a pigeon. IKEA wobbles. I bought something once and had to get metal brackets to reinforce it. Yeah, because it's just cheap materials. It's just MDF. A lot of the stuff's made from cardboard. It is literally made from cardboard, but it keeps the price down. So, you know. I got an outside settee thing. It was rather lightly built. Friend of ours came around and the damn thing broke. I went and support structures underneath it. You could park a car on that now. We're talking about IKEA. I love this. I love it when the chat just goes off on one. IKEA furniture has character and originality. Name another furniture brand that has one piece missing, or that one piece can be the same colour as your floor. The mother of my ex had a pet crow in a kitchen in France. Hated it. I was afraid of birds. Died the same day as Madame. Wow, Mr. Tit. That is very interesting. That's like quite Poe-esque, isn't it? Isn't it? That's like Edgar Allan Poe, isn't it? Not just me. I'm sorry that they died, but you know that is it's kind of creepy. Corvids are very clever. Ever heard the story of the Canadian crow? Can I make the joke about the Corbins? No, not be very clever. The race to net zero, the Manchester and Liverpool story. Yeah, but you see, if you have it as You know what I mean. Right, I'll draw it. There you go. That's it. It's a carbon natural challenge. Come on, the marketing makes itself. It's a music thing. It's the Beatles versus Oasis. It's Eckham and the Bunnymen versus New Order. You know, let's do it. Fucking Zootons versus the Smiths. Fuck Morrissey. Let's go for it. Come on. Frankie Goes to Hollywood versus the Happy Mondays. Who doesn't want to see that? And save the world in the process. Mr. Tisk, I've lived in Manchester in 92 and I have close ties to Liverpool, so true, but love both places. Live near Victoria Street, so Victoria Station even. So 2 trains per hour to Lime Street and only 37 minutes, thank God. Yeah, well, like I went to uni in Manchester, Phil did as well. So did Rob Rinder, Judge Rinder, and Benedict Cumberbatch. He was in the year above me at Manchester when I was there. So yeah, you know, I've got a bit of affection for Manchester, but I got a lot more affection for Liverpool because I love it. It's the best city in the world. There's no place like home. He-Man's sword is called the Sword of Power, or Trevor to his friend. Is that all? Sword of Greyskull. That's it. Sword of Greyskull, apparently. Yeah, because he says, by the power of Greyskull. which confused me when I was a kid, because I thought Grayskull was where the skull man lived, Skeletor, because he had a skull. I grew up with lads who started taking steroids late 90s. Aki used to drive in the estate and stop me, ask where they were. The lads would have banter with him, but would tell him no weird shit. I didn't know, but one of my favourite recording artists of all time, Cunt and the Gang, actually did a song about Purple Aki, bringing together two of my favourite two of my favourite internet legends together, urban legends, I think. Purple Aki, I mean, it's a bit of a weird one. It's a bit of a weird one for us from Liverpool, because obviously he died last year. But when I was growing up, he was the boogeyman. He was the guy who would come along and give you a question. The question would be pop or slash, and either way, you weren't going to come out of that in a good way. But that's what we told each other as kids. I don't think the reality was quite that, but bit of should we say he was a bit of a character? I'll have someone in the chat now going, no, he's a fucking monster. I think he had he had peculiarities. Let's just put it that way. Rip Aki, yeah. I used to know someone who lived on Sunnyside. Was it Sunnyside? Was that the name of the road in Tocky? And they lived next door to Aki, and we used to sing, I've been living next door to Aki. Aki, who the fuck is Aki? Great days. I never met him myself, I don't think. Another thing that after that was good, Caprio was very irate in it. I love K and the Gang. Not seen their Aki vid. Savile one was good. Oh god, that's so wrong. Yeah. Skeletor was from Snake Mountain. I know, yes, that's what, but I found it confusing, Bolts Cop. I found it confusing because it was a skeleton. And why wasn't he in Grayskull? It's like if Chewbacca is a Wookiee, why isn't he on Endor? Like, why isn't he an Ewok? I don't understand. If Chewbacca is a Wookiee, you must have quit. Everyone is 12 now. Anyway, thanks very much for all of your kind donations and submissions. We're going to go over to the papers now. Let's get this done. Let's get this over with, shall we? Some horrible pictures on the front of the fucking newspapers today. Not least this disgusting tyrant of a man. Absolute gobshite. Gobshite, I tell you. Gobshite. Called Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Epstein flew me to Andrew Royal Lodge. This is a second victim who has claimed that she was abused by Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. We've also got Rick at 60 with a very, very low resolution picture of him for some reason. We've got the Times here. New Epstein victim, I was sent for sex with Andrew, which is just so fucking grim. I don't know where to start. And then Christopher Bucktin at the bottom of the Mirror over here saying ex-prince's email shatter his own story. We were talking about this yesterday because, Mate, Jesus. And then he said he didn't see. He didn't see him. I didn't see no one. That's what he said. Fucking full of shit, this guy. Full of absolute shit. Sorry, I tried to zoom in there, but I fucked it up. Let's just go down to the next paper. Jesse Buckley there. Jesse Busley, more like. Tabloid journalism. She won an award for her fabulous acting in Hamnet. If you haven't seen Hamnet, I really recommend it. It's a great film. It's really enjoyable. I will say that she's also awesome in it's called Dirty Little Letters or something. What's the film that she was in? Was it Dirty Little Letters? Dirty Little Secrets. Just bring me up porn now. Don't type the word dirty into fucking Google. Dirty Little Letters. Filthy Letters. I'm sure it'll come up also. Wicked Little Letters. She's fucking brilliant in that. If you haven't seen it, mate, well recommended. Wicked Little Letters. It's about Olivia Colman, who starts receiving these letters with some of the most fantastic swearing in that we've ever seen this side of Deadwood. With Ian McShane, aka Lovejoy. We've got the iPaper here. Bring justice for Epstein victims, Andrew and Mandelson told. Mandelson has left the Labour Party last night, thank God. I love it when the trash takes itself out, which I feel like it should have done a long time ago, or been forced to do. The fact that Labour didn't chuck him at the moment it came out about his ties with Epstein, it ties after Epstein had gone to jail in the 2000s for abusing children, and Mandelson was still hanging out with him. That's when he lost his job as US ambassador, but for some fucking reason, I don't know what this reason is, but Labour, I think they just sort of wake up in the morning and just go, what happened? I don't know. Maybe they've got the memory of fucking golf. I don't know. Or they just keep going, we'll deal with that tomorrow, and then they never get around to it. We all know that feeling, right? Yeah, but Labour, they're supposed to be a professional fucking political party. They should have got rid of him straight away. Don't want you part of the Labour Party, mate. Go on, fuck off. We don't want paedophiles or people who associate with paedophiles. We don't want you in our party. What are you doing for us? Are you winning us votes, Mandy? Are you fuck? Go away. Horrible little man. Really fucking hell. Cannot unsee Mandelson in his undies now. Well, yes, I was going to warn everyone. There is a picture which is coming up here in the Daily Telegraph of Mandelson in his underwear. I do not want to show this picture, so I'm not going to. And instead, I'm going to take us over to the Daily Express, which thankfully doesn't have the picture on there. Nurse takes UK women's right fight to America. Probably some turfy dickhead there. Oh, go on, fuck off to America. You'll be sorely missed. Not. And new Andrew claim Epstein sent women for sex at Royal Lodge. Unfucking-believable. Depresses me that he'll probably never go to jail for this. PM wants to rewind freedom Brexit gave us. Hey, listen, come here, Express, right? Come here, come right up to the camera, right? Go fuck yourself to unalignment. Sorry, unalivement. Brexit freedoms. What Brexit freedoms? What Brexit freedoms? Which ones? The freedom to not live and work in 31 other countries around my own continent. The freedom not to marry someone who wasn't born near the same tree as me. The right to what? Not retire in Europe. The right to not start a business. The right not to be able to work as a travel presenter in Europe because I need a travel permit and a fucking work permit now. Yeah. Yeah, you can work in Europe, but it's only, 16 days in every fucking 90, is it now? So bands can't even fucking rehearse. Can't even do a proper fucking lineup. Can't even do a proper fucking tour around Europe. Not allowed to. Is that a freedom? The freedom to not know who's coming into our country because we're not part of the fucking European-wide database that tells us who's a criminal and here's their fingerprints? Really? Is that the freedom to be poor? To have no fucking money because of Nigel fucking Farage? Is that the freedom? The Express, can I just ask? Listen, knobheads, is that the freedom you're talking about? The freedom for our economy to not grow between 2007 and 2022. In 2007, look it up. Look it up now. Don't take my word for it. Look it up on Google. Type in, hello, ooh, thank you. I'm halfway through a rant and I get handed a fresh cup of coffee. Thank you, darling. That was nice. Cheers. Where was I? Oh, I was having a rant. Yeah, check it out. Go to 2007, right? And find out what the GDP of the United Kingdom was in dollars. It was $3 trillion. Then find out what it was in 2022. It was $3 trillion. 15 years of no growth. Nothing. Credit crunch. Tories. Austerity, Brexit, COVID. Fuck me, that's hot. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just burnt my mouth. Hang on, let me get some water. Holy snapping frog shit. What freedoms? What freedoms? What freedoms? Tell me now, please. But apparently, according to the Express, we're going to lose our freedoms. Where's Kat's hand, Graham? I don't know. Just handed it to me. God save Ireland. Avert your eyes. Freedom to be poor and isolated, says Sean. Freedom to starve is no freedom at all. Freedom to no longer be able to retire to France. The only freedom I got from Brexit was not to be free from Brexit. Yeah, we're stuck in this country now. The happy, unhappy majority of us, not the happy few who are already millionaires, we can no longer leave this country. We can go live in Ireland. That's it. That's our only option now. Without having to ask anyone permission. We used to be able to live anywhere in Europe that was worth living in without having to ask permission. We could just fucking do it. We could just do it. Very hot coffee for hot takes. My mouth is fucking killing me now. If I start tearing up, it's because I've done a bit of damage, I think. But yeah, that's okay. I never thought traveling to China for cheap whiskey would be the fruits of being a British citizen. Yeah. Has AMW sought asylum in UAE left? Yeah, I don't know who AMW is. Sorry, you need to explain. We're a friggin' island. Best not to isolate ourselves. What freedoms? What fucking freedoms? I can't stress this enough, right? But Daily Express, fuck you all the way to unalivement. I hate this. I can't explain adequately using the words available to me in the English language how much this fucking headline fucks me off. PM wants to rewind freedom. Close that, Jesus. Given to us that Brexit gave us. Brexit did not give us any freedom whatsoever. PM wants to rewind freedom Brexit gave us. And note that in the text there, it doesn't actually say what these freedoms are. The PM blamed the 2016 decision on false promises, which he is absolutely fucking right about. Absolute disgrace. Right, I'm going to be very kind and just skip over the Telegraph because it does have that picture of the there's a whole picture on the front cover of the fucking the star as well. I don't know. Right, whatever. Okay, so here's the Guardian. Mandelson under fire as files appear to show Epstein sent him, well, actually, I think it was his husband, $75,000. Just, yeah. And then we've got Melania, whatever her name is, Bezos, and the Malays in the US media. There's an article at the top there, which might be worth watching. King Carlos Alcaraz becomes the youngest male player to complete the career Grand Slam. And as all of the people who follow the cricket or the wrestling or whatever it is this slam is, will know that it's the Aussie Open, the French Open, the American Open, and Wimbledon. That's your Grand Slam. And if you win all of them, you win my ever loving affection, I guess. Anyway, he did it, and it was a hell of a match. It went on for like, I don't know, 19 years or something. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. So Starmer backs talks over pact with EU on defence. An important story here. The UK should consider re-entering the talks on defence pact with the EU, Keir Starmer said, arguing that Europe needs to step up and do more to defend itself in uncertain times. But obviously we've got this Brexit thing. It's given us the freedom to not have to worry about other countries coming to our defense. Yeah, cool. We'll always have NATO. Unless America decides that it doesn't want to be part of NATO anymore and fucks things for everyone, then we won't have NATO. But we'll always have Paris. Unless it gets invaded by Nazis again. But, it's not like the Americans are going to help out this time either. With that particular issue. Moving on. Papers. Which is the next one? The Metro, the free Metro that you pick up at the train station. Embarrassment of riches for old pals of Epstein. High profile friends of paedophile billionaire Jeffrey Epstein have been left squirming as 3 million newly released documents about him reveal astonishing details of their relationships. The Express headline, George there. You're completely correct, my friend. An absolute total lie. Thank you for the super chat. Mediocre politicians wreaking havoc upon us through mediocre negotiations. Yeah. A mate got his Irish citizenship from a granny never met, died when his old mum was a baby, still entitled, lucky. Yeah. I hope your mate didn't vote for Brexit, because I think there should be a ban on anyone who voted for Brexit getting Irish citizenship. Honestly, like, the Irish don't want them, like, because then if there's ever a referendum for Ireland to leave the EU, I'm sure they'll vote again to leave the EU and absolutely screw everyone. Brexit fucking freedoms. Brexit freedoms. Right. And then finally, we're going to go over to the foot of the footsie, which is the Financial Times. It's a bit big, that, isn't it? Should we shrink it down a little bit? So we've got stablecoin war, crypto firms versus Wall Street banks. Fuck off, crypto. Immortality. I mean, Jesus Christ. Do you know what crypto's done to me? It's put me on the side of the banks. It's put me on the side of the fucking banks. Like, that's the side that you never want to be on, right? Right? Why am I on the side of the fucking banks against crypto? Jesus Christ. What has this world made me? Like, what has happened? What has happened to me? Where I'm like, no, the banks are that bad, right? That's how bad crypto is. It's even worse. How can you be worse than the banks? You could be crypto. Imagine a bank, but there's no regulation. Imagine a bank and the greedy bastards who run it can just do whatever the fuck they like and steal as much money as you like, get away with it, get a pardon off the president. Imagine that. Fucking hate them. Hate them. Right, anyway, currency gold. Xi seeks global reserve status. Ooh, it's getting spicy in the markets. Xi Jinping has called for the renminbi, which is the name of the currency for some reason in China, to become a global reserve currency as Beijing seeks to play a greater role in the international monetary system. China's president said the country needs to build up a powerful currency that could be widely invested in international trade, investment, and foreign exchange markets and attain reserve currency status. And what's really funny is that on this money is Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao, the famous communist, on this capitalist money. I'm seeing by my I've got some Chinese money in this table. My table's got all currency on it down here. I'll show it to you at some point. I need to tidy it up first. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. Tidy up and then I'll show you my table. But yeah, it's like in if you go to India, the notes have got Gandhi on the notes, and you think, ooh, did they use these to buy the nuclear weapons? The nuclear weapons to defend India? Were they paid for with notes with Gandhi on them? So there you go. They're going to embrace capitalism with a banknote with Chairman Mao in it. For some reason. JP Morgan should threaten UK over bankers' tax, Mandelson told Epstein. Emails reveal ties to sex offender, ex-powerhouse broker defends comments, Labour Party urged to act. So JP, this is someone who was advising the Labour Party, who were in charge in 2009. He was briefing. He was a member of the government, and he was briefing against the government. He was telling JP Morgan to threaten the UK over the bankers' tax. Unbelievable. Just to go back onto this currency thing, this is massive. The global reserve currency is the US dollar. Once it stops being the global reserve currency, that means America's in a whole fucking world of shit, my friends. A world of shit. Let me explain. Many, many years ago, there was an artist from Spain. His name was Salvador Dali. He was a bit of a weirdo, but his paintings were incredible, like very, very good. Not just a wacky idea, but a wacky idea perfectly executed. By all accounts, he was a total gobshite. He was a bit friendly with Franco. He was, not he treated women badly. I mean, history's not been kind to him. But let me tell you a story about Salvador Dali, which I learnt from Rob Newman when I went to see him perform live at the Liverpool Neptune Theatre, which became the Epstein Theatre, which isn't a great name for a theatre, but named after a different Epstein, don't worry. And he talked about Salvador Dali's magic checkbook. What was Salvador Dali's magic checkbook? Well, it was simply this, right? He would go for a lavish meal, paella, fucking tapas, chorizo, Spanish food. With his mates, he'd go for a lavish feast at a fancy restaurant. He would drink the finest wines, and he would have a jolly good time. And then when it was kicking out time, he would sign a check for the amount. Say, no, it's all right. I've got this. And he would sign a check, remember then, for the amount. But before he handed it over to the waiter, he would turn the check over and he would draw something on the other side of the check. Why did he do that? Because he knew that by drawing a picture and signing it Salvador Dali, that check was worth more uncashed than cashed. So he got to eat for free for the most of his life. This is where he went around to all these restaurants and never paid a penny. If the restaurants needed the money because he'd drawn up such a bill, they could sell the check. They could frame it, the back of it, and sell it as a little original doodle by the great Salvador Dali, the living legend. As it was, the guy used to... Didn't he have like an anteater as a pet or something that he used to take out on a fucking lead? Nutter. So, my friends, what's the connection with the US? Well, Salvador Dali's magic checkbook is a bit like America having the dollar as their reserve currency, because they can eat all the meals they want. They can give all the subsidies they want to oil companies around the world. They can give 40 billion pounds to the president of Argentina in used $5 bills. No problemo. Non-consecutive numbers. Doesn't matter. They can waste trillions with a T on daft foreign military adventures in faraway lands that no American can identify on a map. They can spend trillions on defense that they'll never use. Trillions on nuclear weapons. They can spend trillions on a space race. They can spend money on whatever the fuck they like. They can raise a deficit. What's the deficit now? 37 trillion? Is it? Is that how much the US is in deficit? US deficit. Let's look it up right now. 37 trillion. That was a good guess, wasn't it? And it's now over 38 trillion. It's gone up $1 trillion in just the last few months. Wow. It hit 37 trillion in August last year. It went up to 38 trillion in October, just over a month. The fastest accumulation of 1 trillion in debt outside the pandemic years, reaching a new record high. That is crazy, but it's true. The thing is, nobody cashes the checks because the US is the reserve currency and all oil trade must be done in US dollars. That's the rule. If you try and sell stuff not in US dollars, yeah, look at what happened in Venezuela. Look what happened in Iraq. They don't like it when you try and sell your oil in anything else other than dollars. Technically speaking, when Russia sells oil to India, they do not sell it in rubles or rupees. It's sold in US dollars. When Royal Dutch Shell wants to buy some oil from Nigeria or Libya or Angola, they do it in US dollars. Because it's a global reserve currency. It's a magic checkbook because they know they'll never have to pay off the debt. But If China becomes, the renminbi becomes the reserve currency, if the euro becomes a reserve currency, then things get spicy and perhaps very, very difficult for the poor bastards living in America right now. If there's any Yanks watching, I love you, but I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, because I don't think the magic checkbook's going to work anymore. Trump's not making friends and making people who have money, who like money, and want to keep their money, feel a little bit unsafe with the way America is behaving. The erraticness of having a half-mad, demented child emperor, god king of America, for which nothing is out of the ordinary. Nothing is out of his reach. You have a ballroom, and you may have bits of plastic dipped in gold stuck to the wall. He can have Greenland. He can arrest the leader of Venezuela. He can rename an entire part of the ocean. Let's just call it the Gulf of America. Let's call it. He wants to call it the Gulf of Trump. Let's change the name of the Kennedy Center, the Kennedy Memorial Center. Memorial as in, remember you will die. To memorize, to remember, a place to remember that person who's no longer with us. And who's that? Who is that? Is it Carl Kennedy from Dr. Kennedy from Neighbours? No, John F. Kennedy, who Trump hates because he's a Kennedy, and he hates all the Kennedys except for that one tame Kennedy that he is encaged in his MAGA cult. And so what did he change the name? Changed the name of the Kennedy Center. He changed it to the Donald Trump. And he has his name first, the Donald Trump and Kennedy Center. And now he's shut it down. He's shutting it down for 2 years because everyone's refusing to play there. They're just saying, no, we're artists. We hate you. Piss off. Artists tend to be lefties. That's why all my friends have got no money. We're all impoverished lefties around here, my friend. Yeah. Really, yeah. What a time. What a time to be alive. Scientists fear surge of poorly written slop puts AI sector's credibility at risk. This is a hell of a story. Look at this. Artificial intelligence researchers are grappling with how to stop so-called AI slop from damaging confidence in the industry's scientific work. Because I'll admit, there are some scientific applications that AI will be rather useful for. For instance, looking at a load of data and trying to find patterns, trying to find ways of folding proteins, for looking through cancer scans to see who's got cancer and who hasn't, in a way that humans might miss. Brilliant. Do you know what AI is shit at? Everything else. It can summarize documents. Tell me what it's good at. It's shit at making pictures. It's shit at making video. It's shit at making maps. God, don't get it to make a bar chart. Oh my God, it doesn't even understand the beginning of the concept of a bar chart or maybe a graph or some kind of, hey, could you visualize this data for me? No, it fucking can't. It'll give you 3 fucking x-axes. It is shite. It is so bad. It makes my head spin how bad it is for how much money has been put into it. You know, like when you watch The Room, it's a bad movie, but it was made for £2.50. Who gives a shit? But when you watch something that is an absolute fucking turkey, and Disney, like John Carter of Mars, plowing like $250 million into this absolute abortion of a movie, and you're watching it going, you put all your money into that? That's what you decided to put your money in? Are you kidding? Try that on steroids. Try that where it's not just 250 million. You're talking 250 billion with a B. 1,000 times as much. 1,000 times 1,000. John Carter of Mars times 1,000. In fact, it's more like 4. They're putting 4. Actually, it's more than 4. Jesus shit and Christ. 6 times. It's 6,000 times. 6,000. Because it's 1.5 trillion, isn't it? And 1.5 trillion is 6,000 times more. 6 1,000 times more than 250 million. And that's how much we're putting into this fucking AI, which is shite, makes things look shite, doesn't understand continuity. You can't use it to make a film because one shot will not look the same as the next shot because it doesn't think it's important. No one's taught it about context. It's like a modern architect. It's got no clue. It thinks that a concrete block, a box of concrete with no fucking windows and no natural light, with a load of air conditioning units stuck on the outside, is an appropriate accoutrement to a fucking Baroque medieval cathedral. We'll just put a visitor centre on the side. We'll make it out of concrete. Fucking modern architects. Don't get me started. Don't say I sound like fucking Prince Charles, because he doesn't say cunt as much as I do. But yeah, no sense of context, no sense of continuity. Shite. Absolute shite. It's proper winding me up now because there's a couple of things that AI is really good at, right? It might be good in scientific, research. Great, cool. You don't need to spend that much money on it. It might be good for summarizing a document, like a little bit of a Clippy Plus. Looks like you're writing a letter. Would you like some help with that? No, Clippy, can you make it into a bullet to the list? Yeah. Would you like me to make some shit up that's not in the document you've given me? No, I would not like you to do that. Would you like me to put some extraneous links into this that you didn't ask for, that you can't copy and paste into, your description on YouTube? No, I don't want you to do that. Why would you do that? Oh, I just thought I'd put it in, but I didn't ask you to do that. Why did you do it? I get you to do a little fucking summary every morning of what I'm going to talk about. And what's this shit? Why you put links in? I can't copy links. I can't copy URL links into hyperlinks. Sorry, not URLs. I can't copy hyperlinks. They won't work. It's just plain text. You fucking idiot. It's so shit. But if it was just shit and they were wasting a bunch of other people's money on it, fair enough, right? But first of all, it's not other people's money, it's our money, it's humanity's money, and we're spending all this money on this shite that doesn't fucking work when we could be feeding humanity, we could be getting anti-malarials all over the world, we could be wiping out measles so it didn't exist anymore on the planet. A bit like smallpox, which only exists in a few little fucking test tubes somewhere in a testing station up in Norway. No, we're spending this money so we can burn oil. That's the only reason why all these oligarchs and tech bros and oil fucking bastards, right? Because they want to burn oil. Why do they want to burn oil? Because every oil transaction is done in dollars, so that everyone gets a cut in America. Americans get a cut out of every oil transaction. Every single time oil is transacted, a bit of that money goes to America because it has to be done in US dollars. One way or another, a bit of that money goes to America. So it's in America's interest to make sure that we are hooked on oil for the rest of our lives. Secondly, they all have these fucking data centers, which are all being run on carbon and fossil fuels. They're just burning fossil fuels. They may as well just light a fucking oil well on fire and then stand around and clap like fucking dickheads, because that's what they're doing. They're just setting it on fire, like in The Wages of Fear or Sorcerer. They're just setting it on fire. On that episode of the A-Team, no, MacGyver. There was an episode of the MacGyver when there was an oil fire, and MacGyver put it out with a paper clip. I fucking love MacGyver. The point being, they are burning oil on purpose to accelerate climate change, which they know is real. I know there's some knobheads who follow them around and go, oh no, they're right. It's a big hoax. They know it's real, but they want it. They want the world to get hotter. They want the sea to be dead so that because when it comes to fishing, for instance, they're terrified of fishing because think about it. It's one of those professions that I suppose you could do on a sail ship. Couldn't you? If push came to shove. So we don't want any fish in the sea. Fuck that shit. We don't want to. And also, we'll open up these north passages for ships to cross across the Arctic for some reason, which seems like the maddest thing ever for me. I'm just like, why would you want to be in those waters? Especially any time between, the beginning of October to the end of May. Just fucking, why would you want to be up there? It's going to be fucking 20 below freezing on deck. If anything goes wrong, you're fucked. Your engine breaks down in the middle of the bloody Arctic. Yeah, good luck with that. You're going to fucking burn some pallets, make yourself a barbecue in minus 20 degrees. Jesus, no, it's not going to happen. But what it is mostly, more than anything else, more than anything, the reason why they are setting these effectively setting these oil wells on fire around the world right now, the reason why they're making this bullshit AI data center bullshit is because they want to create refugees. Those burning oil wells are refugee creation machines. That's what they are. That's what AI is. It's a refugee creation machine with just a few more steps. Because once you have a society in which it's too hot to live in the Sahel, in the Sahel region of Africa, once it's too hot to live in the Middle East without loads and loads of fucking air conditioning units all burning oil, once the people of Bangladesh can no longer live in their homes, 200 million people live below sea level in Bangladesh. Once they can no longer live in their homes because their homes are underwater, where are they going to go? Where are those people going to go? They're going to come to countries like in Europe and in America, in Australia, and then the people who run those countries will be shit out of luck because there'll be a Nigel Farage or a Pauline fucking Hanson or a Donald Trump or a fucking Javier Milei or a Viktor Orban or some other goddamn disgusting, gruesome motherfucker who will turn up and say, I will protect you against all of these refugees that we created, me and my very, very rich friends, on purpose by literally burning oil that didn't need to be burnt in a data center. So we can have Sora make shit 5-second videos that look like vomit. They look like fucking pixel vomit. AI slop? You want us to stop calling it AI slop? How about AI vomit? That's a better term for it because that's what it fucking is. AI sector's credibility. AI sector's credibility. Fucking mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. What credibility? Fed prepares for changes under Trump pick Wash. So he's going to be taking over. Will you fuck off what you've had? Donald Trump's nomination of Kevin Warsh above led to lead the Federal Reserve is set to trigger a reappraisal of the central bank's role at the heart of the world's biggest economy. Some say that a Warsh instigated revamp is in the Fed's interest, potentially quelling its very public spat with the White House. Oh, sorry, I realised you can't actually read that. I just looked at my other monitor and I realised that I made it too big for you to see. Sorry, it's the story on the left there. Fed braced. Others say that hostility within the US central bank towards the administration will make it difficult for Wash to impose his will swiftly. Ooh. Taylor Swiftly. And then finally, doing this is actually easier on my laptop because I've got a trackpad. I need to buy like a little cheap £10 trackpad that I can plug in and have alongside my mouse so I can zoom in by doing that, doing that thing. Starmer to look again at joining EU Defence Fund. We already discussed that. Absolutely should do that. Oil majors to cut payouts. Europe's biggest energy groups are poised to rein in billions of dollars of shareholder dividends, signaling a shift to austerity as they brace themselves for lower oil prices. Why do you think they're burning it at such a fucking rate? Because the glut of oil that is coming across because of Trump and his dickhead mates, it's not gonna make it financially viable for a lot of these oil wells. They're gonna have to stop doing production. When Trump said, "Hey, I've invaded Venezuela and I kidnapped the leader and his wife, and now you can go to Venezuela and you can start the oil again. I got loads of oil." Yeah, they got loads of fucking filthy oil that takes a lot of fucking refining, but also, it's not safe. It's not safe. But, he's opened it all up. He's opened, and the representatives from all these oil companies just giving each other the side eye, going, "Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, let's spend loads of money in a country where a leader could come up, in a few years' time and just nationalise nationalise it all again. Nationalise it all again. Warsh is also in the Epstein files. Jesus Christ. That's not surprising though, is it? Anyway, we've got Iran in serious US talk. Donald Trump said Iran was negotiating seriously with the US. If you say so. Bitcoin price tumbles. The crypto has hit the lowest level since last year's tariff shock as a reputation for being the digital equivalent of gold unravels. Yeah, because here's the thing, right? If you have a block of gold and the price of the gold goes up or down, you've still got a block of gold. Whereas with crypto, you don't actually have anything. You've just got you just got a code that might be held on a fucking, one of those little thumb drives. That's very easy to lose. Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, India girds against tariffs. Girds? Is that a word? India has vowed to lift investments in manufacturing and chips, raise infrastructure spending, and offer incentives for data hubs as it tries to sustain economic momentum amid US trade tensions. Tech sanctions bite there. Russia is struggling to reduce its dependence on critical foreign technologies after sanctions severed Moscow from global supply chains. Waymo builds war chest. This is Google's self-driving car unit. It is close to finalizing a $16 billion funding round that will more than double its value to $110 billion as it prepares to expand globally and fend off rivalry from Elon Musk. And then we've got Super Bowl ads hit high. Some of the biggest brands in the world are paying over $10 million for 30-second Super Bowl ad slots this year. A new record. That's nice for them. Self-driving cars, fuck off. I'm just not having them. I mean, I might change my mind, in 10 years' time once everyone's fucking using them, but I don't see myself as a Luddite. I'm a bit of a, I try and be an early adopter of tech, but mostly. But when it comes to this idea that we're going to get rid of all the taxi drivers and just have robots driving us around, it pisses me off on loads of different levels. I like having a taxi driver. You have a bit of banter with them, have a bit of a chat. You can't do that with a robot. And you can tell them they're wrong about their politics. What have we got here? Let's read some things. It's good at applying the law, matter of fact stuff. Yes, it is. That's clever too. Martin, no tax on gifts. My mate, an artist, he has his work on display with things he wants, needs at the price. That's cool. That's very cool. Tony says, when I see the name Tony Blair, then reflect on the other people we have had. Thatcher, Cameron, Sunak, Theresa, Liz, and Boris. It's a wonder we're still retaining any functionality whatsoever. Yeah. True. Salvador Dali was a true eccentric. The museum in Figueres is well worth a visit. Figueres, is that? I'm probably saying that incorrectly, sorry. That's why digital currencies are useful. No central bank or reserve currency. No, they're not useful. Sean, they're not, because they don't have any real backing and they can collapse like that in a way that real currencies, when it collapses, it's unusual. It's not the norm. It takes a fucking lunatic in charge who decides to, I don't know, invade their neighbor or do something horrible. Trump wants to rename Earth as Big Beautiful Ball, a Big Beautiful Bollock. They used shells as currency in China before they first came to make the coins. That's interesting. They used salt to pay the soldiers, didn't they, in the Roman Empire? That's where the word salary comes from. It comes from salt. I don't know why no one could suss out that you could just take a cup of salt water and, which tasted salty. So they must have made the connection. And they did have kettles and stuff. They could boil. They did have fire. They could boil. People made their own fucking money. It's like in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where the Go-Go-Frisians decide that leaves should be legal currency. And then they're hit by hyperinflation and deforestation. I've got to write me some scriptures in the cult of Popeye, says Andy. That's my Popeye impression. Not very good. Sorry. The use of the word "see you next Tuesday" being the differentiator, not never fantasized about being a tampon. Interesting. Being a tampon. That was our king, wasn't it? Our king fantasized about being his mistress's tampon. That happened in real life. Jesus, what a time. What a time to be alive. The boss of a friend conducted a whole meeting about AI, calling it A1 from start to finish. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think Tony says, I think America now, I always get the picture of a conference where they're all clapping and smiling, kissing the ring of the Tango Man. It was frightening to see. Or pandering to a clown. Yep. If you have oil and you don't have nukes, the USA has oil, your country doesn't. True. Yeah, sure, the withdrawal from consumer markets is responsible. I'll stop calling it slop when it stops being slop. Let's call it vomit. AI vomit. Come on, let's make a deal together this morning. AI vomit. Super Bowl equals Bad Bunny equals lots of very annoyed MAGA to entertain us. And also Green Day. Green Day are opening at the Super Bowl. Don't want to be an American idiot. Should be great. Try watching the Super Bowl once. I'll last about 5 minutes before switching off, says Harry Flashing. It's very boring. It's like cricket, but worse. I'm joking. Don't at me about the cricket. I'm a big cricket fan. I've been to watch cricket at the MCG. Yeah, have you been to the MC? Well, okay, then fair enough. Have you been to the cricket ground in Colombo? Have you? Okay, you have. All right. Okay. St. Kitts and Nevis. I watched the cricket in St. Kitts and Nevis, in Basseterre, the capital of. Oh yeah, do I win now? Do I win? Okay, I've won. Melania and her contribution as First Lady seems to simply stand there clapping. Yes. I heard the lad say, I can burn a scroll. My Instagram is deleted. Burn a scroll, mads. Burn a scroll. Burn a scroll, like. Oh, God, what the superpower ads is just clips of Melania's documentary. Melania's? The Millennium Falcon. I just want to say, Melania movie. Favorite. I'm gonna read this quote to you before I go. Favorite time of the day. Okay. So this is an Instagram. Let's see. Oh, okay. Melania. Oh, there's someone else describing it. Fox News. But the Daily Show mocks cringiest parts of Melania's movie tour. Cheesy trailer, uninspiring box office projections. Oh, okay. She was doing an interview. For the publicity of the show, so it's not actually in the movie, apparently. But yeah, she was asked what her favorite time of day is. That's really cutting, isn't it? That's fascinating questions. I want to get the actual dialogue. I want to know what she actually said. Favorite time of the day. Quotes. There you go. Okay. Oh no, it's in the documentary. No, I'm reading it now, unless AI's lying to me, which it might be. In the 2026 documentary Melania, I can't be arsed saying her name right, sorry if that's offensive. Trump reveals that her favorite time of day is the morning. She was asked, what's your favorite time of day? And she responded, favorite is morning. I mean, she's been in America for 20 fucking years or something, 25 years. She can't speak English. I mean, if that was anybody else, could you imagine? Like, I have no problem with that. You know, I can barely speak any other language. I spent a lot of time in countries like Australia. I can't speak Australian. I spent a lot of time in Panama. I can't speak Spanish or guadi. You know, but favorite is morning. Very early morning. Quiet. You get ready for the day. That's what she said. That is a direct link to the quote that I'm reading out. That's in the movie. That is in the movie. Favorite is morning. Do you know what, though? If you ever get a bot, you've got lots of bots these days, read out what they say in a Russian accent. Not a Slovenian accent, which is the accent I just did, obviously. But in a Russian accent, it makes more sense. There's better, cadence to it. Mock the Week. Ooh, Mock the Week is back. Oh, good. I like Mock the Week. Melania and her contribution is to stand and clap. Yes, I've read that one. It's megalomania after a prehistoric lizard. What? My favorite is morning. Should we change the name of the show? Should we change the name of the show from Morning Brew to Favorite is Morning? Should we do that? Come on, let's do it together. It'll be fun. Favorite is morning. Jesus Christ. What a time to be alive. It's malaria. Oh, malaria Trump. That makes sense. South Park made out to be a ghost lamp haunting the White House. When South Park come back, right, because I think they're on the hiatus at the moment, when they come back, they've got to reset the relationship between Donald Trump and Satan and replace Satan with Osama bin Laden. It's not going to cut through to everyone in America, but there'll be a few people who'll go, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Never thought about the fact that Trump is literally finishing off the job for Osama bin Laden, who wanted to destroy America, who wanted to destroy the White House along with the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. Wasn't so successful with the Pentagon, so they handed it over to Hegseth. He kicked out all of the journalists working there and made sure he had his own little beauty parlor put in. His beauty parlor. He has a beauty parlor. He has like a makeup room in the Pentagon. So he's fucked that. And Donald Trump literally bulldozes half of the fucking White House. And then looks out the window at the rubble and goes, yeah, that looks great, that. But yeah, Osama bin Laden wanted to destroy America. And no president in the history of America, in all 45 different people who have been president of the United States, because 2 of them, Grover Cleveland and Donald Trump, both did non-consecutive terms. The 45 men who have been president of the United States, none of them have come as close to destroying America as Trump have. He truly is the rightful son and heir to Osama bin Laden. And South Park should make more of that, I feel. Someone get Trey. Someone get Matt and Trey on the phone to me. Trey, why are you named after a Trey? That's a stupid name. Hello, it's my friend Trolley. I'm sure it's short for something. He is the ghost of Saddam, apparently possessing Trump. That sounds about right. South Park was so spot on last 2 seasons. Yeah, indeed. We don't want to think of Trump finishing off, says Martin Harrow. Yeah, indeed. Right, I'm going to get going. No more confetti, I don't think. No more confetti. I'm sorry, Diz. I tried my best. I've been rabbiting on now for 2 hours and 46 minutes. Fucking hell. Which is a bumper show even for me. But like I say, full of beans after that little recharge of a journey around the southeast, little southeast odyssey, which was really lovely. And you know, friends are family that you choose for yourselves, and family are people who you're kind of stuck with. But luckily, I've got some members of my family who are really lovely, including my mum. And if you're watching, Mum, hello. Sorry for this taking so long, but watch me on double speed or something. And what would I say? I still love how Matt and Trey made a 10-season deal with a big bag of money, and then they made last 2 seasons, 5 episodes. Yeah, gotcha. If this was a Wednesday, Graham would not even get a pee break for PMQs. A PMQ break. Doesn't really work, does it? Sticking it to the man. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm wearing my t-shirt that says not all who wonder are lost today, because Gandalf is my spirit animal. Let's fucking do it. Let's do it. Let's ride Shadowfax into the east, climb a volcano, and throw a bit of jewelry in it, because you can't stop me. Can't stop me. Both Voldemort, in those books that were written by that horrible woman, but Voldemort and Sauron's weaknesses was their arrogance. That was their downfall. They didn't understand the concept of friendship. Think about that for a moment, okay? That was their downfall. George J.K. Rowling's downfall was, one day she woke up in 2018 and thought, I'll be a cunt now. That was her downfall. Anyway, from my hometown is Gandalf, really? What, you live in the West? No, hang on, you live in heaven? You live in the heavens with away. Mithandir. Gandalf Greyheim, you see? Gandalf Greyheim Hughes. Like Trump. Like Trump? I don't like Trump. Okay, so thanks very much for watching this morning. I'll be back this evening with Stateside, I hope, with Scott Williams. Unfortunately, not in real life anymore. Won't be in his flat in London. I'll be here in Durham, but waving to him through the internet. So until then, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for sticking with the channel. Thank you for sticking with me through thick and thin. Really do appreciate it. And, thanks for the super chats as well. If you're still not subscribed to the channel, I know I do bang this drum a lot, and it's sort of cliche for YouTubers it is, but please give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And if you are subscribed, hit the bell notification icon so you can find out when we go live, because we have a little bit of a structure on this channel of when I go live, but occasionally there will be reasons to move when the live show is going to be, or there might be something really exciting or really terrible that I want to do a live stream about immediately. So yes, you never know. You never know. Hopefully it will be Trump's downfall, arrogance. Yeah, arrogance and not knowing not appreciating the value of friendship. I'll say that. Okay, I've said enough. Thank you so much for watching. And until 9 o'clock tonight, when I hope to see you again, or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, when I definitely will see you again, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.